Hey, what's going on? I'm gonna move my camera. Let me see if I tilt my camera a little bit. Oh, that's yeah. If you want to do it that other way, I can just move my camera to the left or right. So if you switch it, then I can know which way to turn. Yeah, there you go. There we go. That's better. All right. Mm-hmm. Mm, I don't have to go first, Tommy. Like I don't. Mhm. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I don't. The only thing I don't think I need. I don't think. This just for me, my position. If he, let's say, if he speaks for 5 minutes, I don't feel like I have to be given 5 minutes because he took five. Right. I just think a fair exchange between the both of us is just as fine. It don't have. I don't. So let's say if I take five, he takes seven. I'm not gonna say, hey, with my extra 2 minutes, and vice versa. I don't, that's what I'm saying. I don't think we gotta, because this is not like a formal debate. This is like a freestyle, so to speak. With it's men having a conversation back and forth. So I don't want to either one of us. Right. Right, 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 right. Mhm, mhm. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Just to have a, I don't need to go on a diatribe unless there's a point where both of us might have to take some time. But for the most part, going back and forth should just be allotted on both of us. Right, 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 right. I agree.
So they can so everybody know who's who. But like y'all said, it's informal. We're gonna get it in. Hold on one second. Be ready to go. Hey, everybody, what's going on? I know you did not think. Hell, I didn't think. I didn't know that we'd be doing a debate today, but guess what we're doing? A debate today. The Titans came and they told me they wanted to get it in. They said that they wanted to have a discussion about a discussion that had been had. They said neither one of them sorry, but not sorry. They sorry, but not sorry. But that ain't what we gonna be discussing. Because during the discussion we had on the super panel the other night, there was a really big conversation that came up. An angry man said to me, he said, what really bothered me was not all that other stuff, but he said it was the fact that we had an important conversation that never reached its end. And I don't know how many of you guys watched it, but I felt the same way. There was an important conversation that was being had between three people at that time. And they wanted to know, what role did slavery play in the current failures of black men? We might introduce, or they might introduce, the role of black women in there. But they're talking specifically about what black men experienced versus what they experience. The current versus the past. And it is an argument that's been had between a lot of people. What role does slavery play in the current mental state, the actions, and the results of the current black men? I'm going to start off by letting you know who these people are, and they're going to tell you exactly where you can find them. So let me throw on the stage first, Angry Man. Talk to him.
What's going on, everybody, y'all? Damn, my bad. My voice is a little hoarse from the other day, but yeah, y'all know y'all can find me on YouTube, most social media. Just type in the Angry Man and it's gonna come up. That's about it.
What are you known for? What is it that the Angry Man, for those who've never been introduced to the Angry Man, what is that you're known for?
I'm known for mostly what people consider red pill content, or at least that's what they label it. I don't really label it that, but I'm known for speaking about male topics and trying to be an advocate for male empowerment in the current state of society that seems to be more matriarchal or gynocentric. And more recently, I've been known also for conservative viewpoints and political content as well.
Oh, okay. That's a good place for a black man to be, but also a dangerous place for a black man. I'll leave you with this. After what happened with Charlie Kirk in the state of politics right now, do you have any fear of being so outspoken?
No, for the simple fact that I'm a Gen Xer, and most of us were not expected to make it past 25 if you were a black man. So considering that, and considering the fact that, you know, I come from a street background, I've always had to worry about, I've always had to worry about when I go to parties, when I go to clubs, I've had to worry about people, you know, a stray bullet hitting me because somebody got into it. So I'm not thinking about that.
Okay, so you look at it as you living on borrowed time right now. You are past what you thought you was gonna get, so everything else is gravy.
I'm getting bonus points.
So you playing with a free man right now. You got two of them jets on Gallagher now. You just a shooting. All right, let me bring in the second combatant here, and that is the man. You guys may have seen him with me on the TNT show, The Rundown. Apparently he's here to run someone down right now. What is your name, sir? And tell him what you do.
My name is Captain Tazaryach of ISHBK under Commander Jenny Hanna. I'm an Israelite. I teach biblically the identity of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. I've also, in my time, I'm known for a lot of debates, creating content, controversial content, body bagging people, telling people to cross the line or get them out of here. I'm known for that too. So I'm known for a lot of different things. I wear a lot of different hats. I've been blessed by the Most High to be able to sit in many different spaces, whether it's with my good friend, Tommy, who I've only known for about a year, but that's my dog right there. That's my homie. Or whether it's going on other platforms, hip hop platforms, battle rap scenes, Christian scenes, Muslim scenes, no matter where it is, I've been blessed with being able to have the conversation. So that's me.
Well, I tell you, you said you wear a lot of hats, but I know there's one you don't because you got a bunch of kids. Let's go. I'll be here all week. All week. I will be here all week. Now let's go ahead and get these brothers into this discussion because I think it is really, really serious. But I do want to ask you one though, Cap. I saw you do something
Right.
with these young cats and talking about Jew. Are you not afraid to talk about that third rail of?
Oh, are you talking about I was on with them small? Oh wait, I
Yeah.
think I got an echo. Is there an echo on my side?
There's a little bit when you talk.
Let me I think let me just change this.
Somebody said y'all two men got to be related. Cannot lie about it. Y'all have to be related at some point. One of y'all got. Y'all bet if y'all do. I guarantee you, if y'all do, y'all 23 and me. It gonna be somewhere there now.
That's that light skin stuff, man. That's that light skin stuff, man. But
you talk about that third rail a lot.
Mm-hmm. That yeah.
And
you talk about when I did the show with the Jewish guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know that happened in 3 days. In 3 days.
So that was over 3 days.
Yeah. So what I mean by that is in 3 days. So he called me. He contacted my school. So on Instagram, I have a New York Instagram for my school. So he contacted us on there. I spoke to him Tuesday, and then I flew out there Thursday, and then we recorded that. And so I kind of do that all the time already, Tommy. So it's almost similar to what Angry Man said when you asked him about the whole Charlie Kirk thing. Do you have that fear? Like I talk about that all the time. So that platform, though, is probably better suited because although I was bringing out real information because it's known as a troll show, I don't know if they would have taken it as serious. Not to say that I wouldn't have done it on a more serious type of platform, but that platform is not known for, they had Sal, the comedian on there. You got the two Jewish rabbis. You got the crazy guy, Mike, who's been acting. And the crazy part, Mike's been in my YouTube channel since I been on that show. The guy in the middle that acts like he's crazy with the big old eyeballs and stuff like that. So I don't have that type of fear to just tell the truth. Sometimes the truth's gonna hurt, and it's just something that, whatever comes with the territory just comes with the territory. And I don't really go to white colleges, so we all safe in black colleges. Charlie Kirk, I know Charlie wish he went to a black HBC, went to an HBCU, he'd still be alive.
Yeah, he might have got beat up, but that might be it.
No, you can't say that because when them white MAGA people went to that HBCU in Tennessee, them black kids didn't beat them up. Them black kids was arguing with them and debating with them, but they
didn't the police stop that from happening?
No, no.
The police got between them.
Nah, nope.
How do you feel about that, Anger Man? About what the white kids, what Tazaryach just said, the white kids talking at the black campus. When you saw that, what did you think about them being run off because they were trying to have the conversation? Do you think that they were being too what would be the word? They were being confrontational because a lot of black people were saying they were just being confrontational, coming there trying to have that conversation. They know we weren't trying to talk to them because they MAGA. Or do you think the blacks were being just very childish by saying because someone voted for Trump, we don't want to hear from them and they shouldn't have freedom of speech?
I think the black kids at that college learned extremely well from Jim Crow white people because it looked like the scene where the little black girl was going to school when they first integrated and all the white people were screaming at her.
When you talk about the Little Rock 9? That's what you're talking about, right?
The black girl was going to the school and they got the troops next to her and you got all the white people screaming at her and yelling at her.
Yeah, that's a horrible.
Because those white people believed that black people were being antagonistic by trying.
Yeah, by showing up at the school.
That's a horrible example. Horrible.
Why you say?
Because the black kids didn't come there to antagonize anybody. The black kids, if anything, you can say that they're the victims of adult white people and adult black people. But them kids themselves are victims. Have you ever? I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you what I mean by victim. Have you ever saw this video where? Hold on, let me see, because I always save this. There's a video I have. I can send you this link. It's called "The Little Rock 9 Enter High School That Forcibly Banned Them on This Day in 1957." And there's a video that the girl, who's one of the women from Little Rock 9, And what she says is diabolical. She says that when she went to the school, the white kids abused her so much and she couldn't fight back. But when she got home, she would take it out on her brother or other family member because she couldn't lash out against the white kids that she was growing up around. And she said, I would have probably been more kinder to my brother if I wouldn't have had that experience. So you can't compare that to grown white men purposely targeting black colleges with mantras like DEI was good to get away with the MAGA hats to antagonize them, because the only reason they're doing that is because Charlie Kirk got unalived by a white man. If Charlie Kirk does not get unalived by a white man, those white men don't go to a black college. So the intent behind what those people did is entirely different from kids trying to go to school because people want to integrate schools and racist white people are against it. I don't see the comparison.
Angry man.
Okay. So number one, the kids going to that school that was set up to try to make a change in the way our society is structured, right? However, we're talking about a time where white people are used to things being segregated and that being a norm. That's a norm, right? So those children went to that school not because not because a large group of the white people that we're talking about wanted that to happen. That happened because adults, some black, some white, felt that it was time for this to take place, right? So the people that are there, they didn't play a role into that. And even though the kids didn't play a role into that, it's still something that they felt was antagonistic because they, at the time, and I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying that was the thought process at the time. The thought process was, okay, our schools are white and there's nothing wrong with that, right? That was their thought process. So the moment that they see on the news, look at these black people trying to go to our schools and trying to do this and they absolutely took it as antagonistic because it was contrary to their norm. The same way today. Now you can sit back and say, okay, well, those kids are going to those colleges in order to be antagonistic to the black kids because of what happened to Charlie Kirk. You could say that, right? The only problem with that is they've been going to colleges to challenge the viewpoint of the people at those colleges. And one could even argue that is the entire purpose of college, aside from education, is to have your views challenged, is to have your way of seeing things broadened. So when you have white kids in this day and age going to the college saying, hey, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that, change my mind. And then you've got black kids yelling at them and trying to run them off the campus. To me, it looks just like that scene from back in the day. It looks just like it.
Let me ask you, Cap. By his thoughts, I'm going to say this part. My mother was a part of one of those. She ended up going, she said, they bust her into a white school. And they bust her and some of the black kids into a white school. And she said when she got there, they were throwing rocks and eggs at the bus. She said as she got older, she realized none of us kids wanted to go to that white school. We had no want to go there. Mm-hmm. But the black people kept encouraging them to do it, knowing what was going to happen. So in defense of Angry Man, they were putting those kids in situations where they could die just to prove a point.
Yeah.
Disrupt what the white people have been doing for years. Do you see kind of that part of what he's saying? Not saying it's a one-to-one correlation, but what he's saying is the intent behind the students being sent to the white college was actually worse because they were intentionally trying to antagonize people who at that time had been given carte blanche to hang, beat, and all types of things to black people, and they put their kids in that.
Like, as I always say, like listening is an art. And Tommy, you actually helped my point by the story that you gave, because when I spoke, I distinctly said that the adult white people, the adult black people that forced them schools. If you said they were the problem, I would agree. That's exactly what I said. And this conversation point that we're having right now is what I be talking about when it comes to when I speak about slavery, because I want this for the record. Slavery is not an excuse for your behavior. Slavery can only be used as a historical learning point of how to avoid this behavior or to use it as an excuse. So now back to this analogy. The analogy that Angry Man used was Little Rock Nine is no different than these white men going to these colleges. Those white people that went to the college, that went to the black college to purposely antagonize. The little kids that's going to college, that's going to the school, they're just on the bus, getting off the bus, they're walking. They're not antagonizing anybody. They didn't even fight back. Those white people that went to that HBCU did not get nothing thrown at them. I think when they got in the car, somebody threw something on top of the car. But as far as they themselves, they got yelled at because they came there with the intent of antagonizing. Why are they going to a black college with the MAGA hat talking against DEI? Because they know they're going to in a black college, so they want to say things to antagonize them. Now, do they do this at white colleges? Possibly. I'm not saying that they don't antagonize other locations. But my reasoning for pointing that out was that at the white college, a prominent white man died over his disagreement on a position. At a black college, those white men lived over a disagreement. That was my point in saying that Charlie would be alive if he went to a black college, because when them three white men went to that black college, they didn't get a broken bone. They didn't get a punched face. As Charlie Kirk is having a conversation about trans, of which he disagrees, he gets shot in the neck in one of the whitest states at one of the whitest colleges that you can think of. So when we go, and I'll land it here in about 30 seconds. So when we go back to Little Rock 9, if I put this video in the private chat, Tommy, I asked if you could play that, please. It's the last message that I sent. Because now what this shows, if you look at the last message, it says criticalpost.com. Now, what this will show is when I talk about slavery and how it can be handed down generationally. I just want you to play what this girl who was at Little Rock 9 said, and we're going to see how that affects what we go through. If you can play that video.
Okay, and if you don't mind, I want to say this to you before I play it.
Mm-hmm.
You said that this one incident, they didn't receive a broken bone. Well, prior to Charlie Kirk being shot, he had been to hundreds of colleges and never had anything happen to him. So it's almost, would you say this, that it would be unfair to judge that when finally something happened, that would be like saying the one time I drove a car, nothing happened. But the 1,000 times I flew a plane, on the 1,000th time it crashed, driving a car safer.
I would agree with that. But now here's why I say it with Charlie. Because of Charlie's rhetoric, like when he said a white man is more than likely to get killed by another black man than a white man, and then he gets killed by a white man. That's why I'm saying it. I'm not saying it like he didn't make a whole tour and survived all these different tours. It was really said in jest. It wasn't as deep, but I do like that it led to a conversation that we're having because it is on subject. But it does go to the point of when I say he would be alive if he went to a black college. That's all.
Okay. So first and foremost, the fact that Charlie Kirk was taken out by a white person, that's not surprising because most crime actually plays out that way. It's usually someone that looks like you that ends up taking you out or ends up committing a crime to you. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, you keep saying they went to these colleges to antagonize. You can't prove that. You can't prove their intent is to antagonize. You're assuming that they're trying to antagonize because you may disagree with some of the things that they're saying, and you may disagree with the hat. But that doesn't mean that their intent is to antagonize. What we're looking at in this day and age is the inverse of what was happening back in the day. And by the same logic that you're using, I could say that if Brother Malcolm was speaking at a white college, he'd still be alive today.
Oh, you was done? That I didn't want to interrupt. That wasn't funny or nothing like that. I wasn't looking at my screen.
No, I wasn't trying to be.
No, no, yeah,
I'm being
Malcolm.
serious.
No, Malcolm was unalived by his own people. Inside job. Well, I'm gonna take that back. It was his own people, but when you look at the story, it was his people that worked with the white man that convinced him to do it. That unalived. If you actually,
Well,
there was a documentary on Malcolm, and the guy that unalived him was working for Cory Booker in New Jersey. He was from a Muslim mosque in New Jersey, and he was an informant for the white man. It was a Netflix documentary on Malcolm. Dead serious, Tommy. Dead serious.
I saw the documentary. Can
Oh,
I
you
ask you a
saw it?
question?
Okay. Yeah, yeah, can.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How many years did it take us to find out these revelations about Brother Malcolm?
I think that came out like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So I would say maybe 50 years.
50 years, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so with that being said, the jury's still out on the Charlie Kirk thing.
As far as
We don't know.
if other people was involved with it.
Yeah, because and he's right, because what is her name? The black chick that does the Republican stuff.
Candace Owens.
Candace Owens. She said that she's done some of the files and she's going to drop it. And then she said there's a whole bunch of people who failed and had him set up.
But that ain't gonna be black people though. I would agree with you.
Government. But once you go to the government, it stops being black white, right?
I agree with that too. I don't have no issue with that.
So, and I didn't open that door to try to go down a rabbit hole. I'm just merely trying to make the point that when we say, okay, you know, Charlie Kirk went to these black college, if he would have went to a black college, they probably wouldn't have done that to him because it was his own people that did it. You know, it's kind of ironic because we could say the same thing about Brother Malcolm. Brother Malcolm went and spoke at white colleges and he never lost his life at a white college. At the moment he was speaking in front of his own people, he lost his life. That's the point I was trying to make.
I get it. I don't argue against crime. And that's why I'm glad you said you're more than likely to be criminalized by your own than outside of your own, because that goes against most white rhetoric that make it seem like that doesn't take place. But just for clarity, the group that invaded the HBCU, they intentionally, it says a group carrying signs wearing "Make America Great" hats were escorted off the Tennessee State University campus after hosting an unauthorized public demonstration. They carried out signs that read "DEI should be illegal, deport illegals now." There's no way that they went to that black college specifically talking about DEI and it wasn't intentional. And so that was my point. But they was able to go and express themselves, of which I believe everybody should. From what I speak, I am definitely a proponent of free speech.
Well, because that's what I was about to say. Because when you walk in, I'm going to talk back to you, Anger Man. But when you walk in with what if people said when you walk in with all that gear on, and y'all stand on the corner of 34th, is it?
40. Well, in Harlem it's 125th Street. In Lenox Ave. In New York it's 42nd Street.
Okay, and so they say when y'all do that, y'all are trying to antagonize. Do you believe that's what y'all trying to do?
Yes, that's that. But I don't have an issue with. My point ain't that they can't do it. My point is when they did it, nobody harmed them. I believe that Charlie Kirk should have never been shot. He should have never been unalive for just speaking. Now, let's say if he came out there, he was physically harming somebody, then that's a different conversation. But what you say out of your mouth should not cause you bodily harm. So that's my position.
Okay, but we don't. Okay, so you're saying that you don't have a problem with the MAGA guys going to the college to be intellectually antagonistic. You don't have a problem with that. Your point is just that they didn't get harmed.
Right. That was my point. And that's why I said in the beginning, I was just being in jest when I was talking about Charlie would be alive. It was almost like a joke.
Oh yeah, I know. But here's the thing. With that situation, when we look at the MAGA guys going to the colleges or whatever, with the MAGA hats, going to the black colleges and universities. Is this something that they just recently started doing?
Who those MAGA group? No, I don't
Yeah.
know if that's something. I don't know their whole history. That's why I said they could be going to other colleges. I don't know the whole history. I just know, and maybe it could just be getting spotlight because of what happened to Charlie. So they could have been a group that maybe it could be like a traveling circus where they just go from college to college or platform to platform and just do these things. And now because of what happened to Charlie and they go to this black college, it's being brought to the light. It could be
Well, that's
just like that. I don't know.
Well, that's possible, but here's the thing. The reason why, and it, the thing that Charlie Kirk was doing is something really that Steven Crowder started, where he would go to he would go pretty much anywhere and set up a table and say, change my mind, right? The reason why you see these white kids doing this, not just white kids, because Officer Tatum does it too. There's a lot of people that do it. The reason why they do this because it's effective. Because it actually plays a role. Well, of course, y'all know that. You know it's effective. But we don't know if, and I hate to go into whataboutisms, but we don't know if they're going to get injured or hurt doing that. It depends on how often they go to HBCUs and how long they've been going to HBCUs, because the possibility is still there. So I just want to point that out.
No, I
want to say
that.
this, guys. Hold on one second, guys. There's a poll that is up there in the comment section, and it's asking whether white kids in the college wearing the Trump and the DEI, anti-DEI hats, were they there, in your opinion, to antagonize the black students? Now, I got to throw it to you, Cap. Isn't that kind of what college has always been about? You go into a place to where they might think opposite to try and give them well, have you thought about issue? That's usually what colleges were.
Absolutely. Like Malcolm, Khalid Muhammad, they've all spoken at colleges. Khalid Muhammad did a speech at King College that got him kicked out of the Nation of Islam.
Ooh.
So because he started talking about the small hats, and Farrakhan told him that was a no-no, and he did it anyway, got kicked out of the nation. So I'm not saying that these things, my point wasn't saying, that's why I said, like, and I'm glad I said it because it got us into a space of having a good conversation. But I've been saying that as a joke since them white men went to that black college and survived. I've been saying that, like, Charlie would be alive if he went to the black college. Just like I would say, when Charlie was talking about the airplane pilots and it's only 3% black pilots, I would say if more black pilots was flying, it wouldn't be no airplane crashes, because all the airplane crashes is not black people. So it's just like taking those things in jest. But the Little Rock 9, though, if you can play that video for me that I have.
I'm about to play it. Yep.
If you can play that video, because this speaks to what I'm talking about, which if we don't understand the psychological effect that it has on us, these are the points. This is how we teach it. We don't teach it from being a victim, like, oh, I can't get this job because slavery was here. It's more so like, why am I a mean ass mother to my children? And
don't get to your point just yet.
Okay, good.
Do not do that. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to play this, and then we're going to get into it. Now, I really appreciate Angry Man and Captain Tazaryach for taking out time out of their busy days to even come and do this. So I want you guys to show them appreciation as well. So if you get an opportunity, make sure you go over there and subscribe to both of their channels, hit both of their cash apps, show them some love, because I think this is a really good conversation, and they've decided this would be the perfect time to get together and talk about it. And I see that you guys really seem to be interested in it as well. So thank you guys very much. And for a second, I'm going to want you guys to, I'm going to have to switch it over to this thing. I don't know why it works like that, but don't talk because it'll be a bad echo. Here's the video.
Well, I hope it's the day of Christ affect you personally.
Well, I think that one of the most interesting effects that the crisis had on me was the fact that I turned a little bit more evil than I would have been otherwise. I couldn't take out my aggressions on the children at school, so therefore when I came home in the afternoon, I think I took out this aggression on my little brother, and we grew further apart than we would have been.
Okay, so I see that she said exactly what you said She did, but I mean, I guess here's where I would probably fall in. You don't want to hear me because I'm gonna say, well, if we all had the same damn daddy, me and my brothers wouldn't have had the arguments we had. If we had money, we probably wouldn't have had to sleep with cotton in our ears and nose to try to stop them little roaches from crawling in while we were sleeping. There's a lot of ifs, and there's a lot of things. If my girl didn't look like this woman who cheated on me before, I probably wouldn't have elbowed her in the neck. There's a lot of things that people say. So when she says this, she still had agency over how she acted. And I think that's where I would go when I'm talking about blacks on the colleges. They still have agency of how they act, just like the whites. Everybody has agency of how they act. So when we say someone's trying to antagonize them, if it's just they're saying something that's a difference of opinion than ours, I think that is a very low bar of what antagonism is. I'm gonna let both of you guys answer that, what y'all think about that, and then we're gonna go into the subject. So I'll go with you, Cap, because you're the one who brought it up first. So go ahead. What is your thoughts on what I just said?
I had muted my mic. When the point of that is that I don't think kids have control of their agency as much as adults do. That's why she didn't have that realization till she got older. Now, and that's the point. So you told a story, I'll tell a story. I'm the oldest. Well, I'm not technically, I'm not, my sister's 15 minutes older than me. I got a twin sister, right? And so when I was born, my father was extremely abusive to me, hung me out a window, had me strapped to a bed, beat the living shit out of me, would tell my brother and sister, say, y'all don't love Tyree, all of that shit. He didn't do that to my little brother. I didn't care about my sister, but because me and my brother were both boys, I'm like, why ain't you doing this to my brother? What you doing to me? And I hated the fuck out of my brother. And it wasn't until I got about maybe 23, 24 years old of being cruel to my brother that I'm looking at my brother and I didn't even realize what I was doing. And it was one day, my father, we having some little family sit down or whatever. And my father says to Stephen, he was like, you don't love your brother? He was like, sometimes I don't know. And I didn't understand why he didn't love me. Cause in my mind, I'm the big brother. You supposed to love me. And then I had to analyze. And then when I realized what I was doing to him because of what my father did to me, I then made it my business to rectify that mistake. So before my brother died, me and my brother had a beautiful relationship, but I had to come to him and make amends of the mental damage that I did to him. And so when we talk about what's happening to the daughters and well, the people of Little Rock 9, those kids, imagine that's one woman saying what she did to her brother when she came home. Imagine the other kids that go through the same thing because they parents forcing them to go to school, and then you taking that oppression out. Like the Bible says, oppression make a wise man mad. So if you can't beat this person, you go take it out on somebody else. Those are the effects that I'm talking about. And if we don't pinpoint them things, like when I found that out about my brother, it wasn't time to use it as an excuse for me and my brother to not love each other. It's a time to point out the problem and then fix out the problem. That's my position on slavery, pointing out the problem and the effects and then fixing it, not an excuse.
Perfect. Anger Man, what are your thoughts? Are they old enough? Because everybody keeps calling them kids, but college is pretty old.
Yeah. So as far as the video that you showed, I actually agree with Cap on the fact that a child doesn't have as much agency as an adult. I agree with that wholeheartedly. In that situation that she was in, I can empathize with that because that was a messed up situation. However, when we look at slavery and the effects of slavery, right? The only way that would be relevant to us today is if the current Black people today were in slavery when they were children.
Don't go in. Is that the argument of the topic?
I was getting ready to dive into I was going to segue right
into. I'm gonna let him do it. Yes.
He can go. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
I like that.
It's organic.
He got me.
Right into it.
I was supposed to go first, so I'm gonna go on into it. I like it. Do it.
I'm trying to segue into it because
go right into it. Do your thing.
Because even though there have been, and I know the numerous scholars that have done the studies of how slavery has affected us generationally, And I even believe in genetic memory to a degree. However, the way you frame that with her as a child going through that and taking out her anger on her younger brother, and then it wasn't until she got older that she was able to recognize what she was doing wrong. That wouldn't apply to current Black people, because current Black people were never enslaved when they were younger. It's not like we were in a situation where we were enslaved and we didn't really have currently didn't have agency of thought, agency of actions, and then we came out of slavery, and now we have agency, and we can say, okay, well, you know what, the reason why I engaged in this is because I was a slave and I had a slave's mind, and all those different things. I think we are way removed past that.
Yeah, I don't. So slavery for me, just to classify what I mean by slavery, it's not picking cotton, it's not being beat. It's about mental and physical, both of them.
Mm.
We're not on the cotton field, so we kind of like past that. So when I think about slavery, I think about a barrel of laughs where Black people couldn't laugh; they had to stick their head in the barrel. I think about how vanilla ice cream used to be illegal for Black people to eat. That's how we came up with butter pecan ice cream. Even when I think we got on this conversation, it was because selling to the Negro in 1954, when you actually watch the video, which we have, what that white man says is that every man wants to feel good about themselves. That's a normal thing for all men, but because Black men have not experienced that, they look for it more. That's what they knew about us when they make the video in 1954, which means they had to been studying us before 54 to come up with that determination that they can sell to us by appealing to our desire to be important. That's what I mean by the effects of slavery. It's just a ripple effect. Richard Pryor one time did a stand-up comedy where he says, imagine you go, he said, cops put a beating on your ass. Imagine you get dressed with your old lady, you work all week, you go outside, cops pull you over and say, take your pants down, we're gonna strip search, you look like a criminal, and then they send you home. Excuse me, they let you go. He says, what man wants to go out with his woman after that? You go home and beat your kids because you got to take it out on somebody. So what I'm saying is that we have never gotten over it because for some reason we have an inherent fear of even talking about it. Like the idea, and I don't know if you ever heard of the cherry blossom, the mice and the cherry blossom test? Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Me or him?
Angry Man. Well, you the moderator,
No.
Tommy. You don't count. I ain't asking you no
Fuck
question.
you then.
No. So in the mice and cherry blossom test, right? And as I said, we're kind of talking back and forth. So if you feel that you want to get in there, you don't have to let me talk free willy because I may talk too much, right? So in the mice and cherry blossom test, they took male mice. They had this cherry blossom tree or scent. But in order to get to that scent, or every time they would go to that cherry blossom tree or scent, they would shock them. Not enough to kill them, but it would electrocute them. And as it electrocuted them, because they knew of that smell, they would stop going by the cherry tree. Then they let them reproduce. And the reproductive children that they had also wouldn't go by the cherry tree, even after they removed the electric shock. So now there's no more electric shock, but the scent would get them more agitated. It would get them more angry. And so they use that to show how, and there's another study, which I have these videos in the back chat if Tommy needs to play them. And I think you mentioned it as well, as far as slavery passing down into our genome. And it's not slavery in the sense that you think of the act, but the mental damage that it alters to your DNA passes through. And I think that's where Black people suffer when the word slavery comes up. The minute slavery comes up, the word slavery comes up, we get agitated because although we don't have the chains, we have the mental to where we can't even talk about it without somebody feeling like it's an excuse, especially when somebody talks to me about it, because I'm a nigga that don't like no excuses. our school slogan is no excuses. But if we can point out, like if I can point out what happened with my brother so I could fix me and my brother's relationship, we have to look at what we've done to each other and what was the cause of what we've done to each other to correct the point.
Okay, fair enough. So you know who B.F. Skinner is, right?
I'm about to look it up now, though.
Okay, so what we're really talking about is social conditioning. So B.F. Skinner was, a dude that, was, matter of fact, we can even talk about Pavlov. You ever heard about Pavlov? Okay, so Pavlov was this scientist that basically he's famous for ringing a metronome and making a dog salivate. So basically, he would give the dog food. He would put food in the thing, and he would ring a bell. The dog would come and he would eat the food.
Yeah,
and he kept doing it over and over again until finally he didn't even have to put the food there. He could just ring the metronome, and the dog would start salivating. Right. So the reason why I have a problem with the constant rehashing of slavery is because, and I actually agree with you, that whenever you bring up slavery, it definitely agitates Black people. But here's the thing. Whenever you have a situation where there's social conditioning, in order to, if you have any type of lapse in that social conditioning, meaning if the effects of the social conditioning is wearing off, you have to reintroduce the conditions to create that conditioning, right? So what I personally believe is when you go back and you look at slavery and you look at after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, and then you look at Reconstruction, if you notice, Black people from Reconstruction well into the 40s and 50s, they have everything that they do was off the charts. In other words, the level of literacy shot up. The level of entrepreneurship shot up. The level of everything shot up with Black people, right? Coming out of slavery, right? So we're looking and we're watching as Black people are starting to prosper in spite of Jim Crow and all of those different things. You agree? Would you agree?
Yeah, we was building. Yep.
Okay, we was building. We had a high rate of marriage. We were doing very well, right? When would you say that we all of a sudden started to decline?
I think that so what you're talking about is kind of like in the Great Depression era. I like that part because as a white man was going through his Great Depression, is a time where the things that you're saying is taking place for Black people began to happen. Whereas we're building the colleges, the banks, the cities, and everything like that. And I think the decline came when we believed that we made it to a space where we can now sit at the table with white people. And so what I mean by that is that's when you start hearing, well, can we go to the white schools? That's when you start hearing, can we get into the white restaurants, into the white businesses? And so as we tried to venture off into the American dream of everybody becoming together, that's when we started losing because we didn't realize that the enemy that we had in Jim Crow didn't disappear because we was prospering. If anything, it became more venomous than it was.
So you're saying that the decline came during the integration era.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So
Because we wasn't as and that's not to say that the Jim Crow era is better than this era. Because I would disagree in some instances. It depends on what we're talking about. If we're talking about family structure, we had family back then, we don't have family now. But if we're talking about racism or slavery, I could argue that it's worse back then than it is now.
Okay, so
you guys can do me the favor. I'm gonna let you go back in. I want everybody to take a look at this. I technically don't even need to be here. If y'all want to see how something is supposed to be able to done between two grown men, and I don't know, it might go left because they light skinned. But right now, if you look at how it's going, what we had decided we were going to set up at the beginning isn't needed at all. They're having a discussion. And maybe if we could do this and have this happen more often between black men to where they can have opposing point of views. And some of the times it looks like their views are overlapping, but they're having the discussion. I love it. And I hope you guys are loving it too. Go ahead, Angry Man.
So the thing about, and we probably agree on this, I really didn't agree with integration,
Me neither.
or forced integration. I personally believe that over time, integration would have happened organically, simply due to the fact that eventually you would have white people that would want to patronize certain black businesses and vice versa. And sooner or later, that integration would have happened eventually. And I feel like it would have been less contentious if it wasn't forced, which goes back to the point that I was trying to make, where I said, because white people during that time were so used to things being a certain way, anything that went against what they thought was the normal way of doing things, they felt was antagonistic. And I'm not trying to justify the Jim Crow actions or any of the stuff that they were doing. I'm just merely stating the possible mind state that they had at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, what I think is the reason why black people were building and growing is because they were so close to slavery, and not just the act of slavery, but the mind state of slavery, all of that, that they wanted to get away from it. Right. They wanted to have more. They wanted to have families because the families were broken up during slavery. They wanted to have education because they wasn't allowed to have education. They wanted to be successful because they're finally able to work for themselves instead of working for somebody else. I feel like it wasn't until we got into the civil rights era where we started constantly telling people, well, we were slaves for X amount of years and we were this and we were that and we were this. And I feel like that was a wound that was healing in spite of Jim Crow. I feel like that was a wound that was healing. I feel like the medicine that we needed mentally and psychologically, we were giving to each other because we had community. But you know as well as I do, when a body is wounded, you give it medicine for it to heal, but you don't continue giving it medicine in order for it to stay healthy. You have to do other things in order to stay healthy, right? So by the time we got to the point where you see all of these civil rights leaders constantly reminding black people, it was nothing wrong with pointing out the ills of the day, but constantly dredging up what happened in slavery. I feel like it reopened that wound. And ever since then, we've been rehashing it over and over. And what a lot of people don't realize, and I'll land it here, a lot of people don't realize is that white liberals, they love to constantly bring up slavery. They love to constantly rehash that because there are a lot of black people that use the slavery, the history of slavery to weaponize victimhood. And they know that they can capitalize off of that through voting, through different movements. And I just personally believe that if we're going to really heal, we know the history of slavery, but there's absolutely no reason for there to be a new slave movie every single year.
The only part, well, not only part, but what I would add is I would add the one portion of the civil rights movement that I'm not sure if you mentioned is that when we was building, and I said as we're not recognizing that even though we're building, Jim Crow is still looking for a way to infiltrate us. And so how did they infiltrate us? With black leadership. If you go with my Alpha 21 is a good DVD that talks about Planned Parenthood, and Margaret Sanger said, we can't be the face of this. The preacher and the nurse has to be the face of it. So what would they do? Right. Well, yeah, exactly. So they would go get the black preacher. So the white man, Jim Crow, America, COINTELPRO, would go find black people. If we was in slavery, we would call them, I won't say Uncle Tom, because historically Uncle Tom, what I learned, was the gangster. So I'll say a coon.
Sambo.
The Sambo, yeah. So they go find these black Sambos and then let them present what you just said. What you just said about slavery, like on my channel, I titled our conversation, I said Captain Tazaryach versus Angry Man, hosted by Tommy Sotomayor, Slavery, Racism, an Excuse or Reality. You and I having this conversation is a reality conversation. But if you was having this conversation with an integrationalist, it would be an excuse conversation. That's the triggering part of the mice. That's why the word slavery can trigger you to the left or to the right. So when you heard me say slavery the other day, it triggered you to think, oh, he about to make this an excuse. But I'm more of the reality side, because reality speaking, those black people that wanted to integrate was not influenced of themselves. They were influenced of COINTELPRO infiltrating them and convincing. There was just a story came out of a black person that admitted that they were working with the white man as he was a photographer. He would take pictures. It's a black man that was famous for taking pictures and sitting in all the black meetings. But he
I
was
know who you talking. I know who you talking about.
but
I
he was
can't think
work
of his name.
yeah, so he was working for the FBI. So all
Mhm.
Jim Crow or all the white man did was adjust their strategy of destroying us. So at the same time they got the Jim Crow, the same time they got the 13th Amendment, they also saying to this black man, hey, you go infiltrate and then we'll give you this. So if you're going to add that part to it, we're going to agree, because I disagree with integration as well, because I always use I got this book over here on my shelf. It's called $40 Million Slave. I don't know if you ever read it. It's an excellent book. And in the book, $40 Million Slaves, it talks about the Negro League. Negro League was a league of our own. It included white people. There was white people that was involved in it too, but it was called the Negro League, obviously, because it was for Negroes. And when integration came, the owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers said, we're going to take their best players. And if they say something about us taking their best players, we'll say, didn't you want to integrate? And people don't understand. If you just look at the value of Yankee State, where you got the Yankee hat on, so I'm gonna use Yankee Stadium. If you got Yankee Stadium, when you go there to see the baseball game, you patronizing the vendors there. They're selling drinks, they're selling food, you buying memorabilia. Even the businesses and stores that surround Yankee Stadium are able to make money, because as people come to Yankee Stadium, they could patronize other businesses. So when they got rid of the Negro League, they also got rid of the businesses that surrounded it. Now look in contrast, when the ABA and NBA merged, they made sure to keep some of the NBA teams. I think the Nets was one of them, a couple other teams that they was able to keep. They didn't obliterate it because there was a difference. So when I'm talking about slavery, it's to learn those same mistakes. The mistakes of Brown versus Board of Education. That's a mistake. But that's because we had a different type of house Negro. The house Negro and the field Negro is now both outside. They're both free, but they both still exist. And so because they both still exist, if we don't recognize where the house Negro is at, we'll never recognize where COINTELPRO is at. So when I'm talking about slavery, that's the position that I'm coming from, because again, that video, How to Sell to the Negro, still applies to 2025. They didn't
Yeah,
change the
but
recipe.
yeah, I get that, but here's the thing, right? When you brought up slavery the other day,
Mhm.
like whenever I'm on a panel having these discussions, I'm not just caught in the middle of the discussion. I'm mindful of the people that are watching. And the reality is, when it comes to black people, when you say something, you may be saying it for purely analytical purposes, or you may be saying it for certain reasons. But there are black people that latch on to certain things because it gives them the excuse. It gives them the opportunity to weaponize victimhood. And it doesn't really benefit them or their community, right? Now here's the other thing. This is the other side of it nobody wants to talk about, right? Um, have you ever owned dogs?
No.
Never owned dogs.
I
Okay,
got
so
my fish
like,
tank. My fish tank is the best pet I got right behind me. It don't go nowhere.
okay, so like, so anybody that's ever owned dogs and had the dog outside in a kennel or on a chain, right? If that dog is on that chain, like let's say that dog is always on that chain, I'm talking about for weeks at a time or whatever. The dog get fed right there, he get his water right there. That's his spot. He can't go nowhere further than where that chain lets him go, right? So one day, because you know my pops, he used to have dogs or whatever. He'd have them on the chain or whatever, and every once in a while, he would let them loose, take them off the chain or whatever. Every time that dog is let off that chain, he just runs like crazy. I'm talking just as fast as he can, as hard as he can, like he's lost his mind. And I, even as a kid, I understood psychologically he's doing that because he know he's going back on the chain.
Right. So he
He
trying to get it
doesn't
all out.
know how long he's going to get to be free. And for me, I'm looking at Black people in this day and age who, like you said, are still psychologically in the mind of a slave. And so now with Black people looking around saying, oh shit, we free? We're actually free.
Right.
And what they're doing is they're running buck wild because they're so afraid that they have a limited amount of time in order to be free. Why? Because constantly bringing up slavery makes them think this is temporary. Eventually, we're going to be re-enslaved. You even had people that were telling Black folks that if Trump got elected, they were going to be put back in slavery, and they believed it. They legit believed it. Like they were like, oh my God, like they're gonna put us back in slavery. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a firm believer that those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. But this constant sort of ideology where we constantly rehash slavery, it's kind of like a woman that has been assaulted, sexually. Even though that woman will be changed forever because of that horrible act, she doesn't want to watch the video of it every year. That doesn't help her. It doesn't help her heal. Even though this is a traumatic event in her life and it's going to change her life forever, she got assaulted. The whole reason the dude got locked up is because of the simple fact that they had a video of it. But I guarantee you she doesn't want to watch that video every single year. And that's what we do with slavery. We go back and we watch the movies of it. We put out, we even make movies and TV shows showing us being brutalized and victimized and all of those different things.
I don't think we do that. I think we're still slaves. I think that the closest we could have been from not being slaves is when we was building with each other. During the most worst time, like if we took what we did during Jim Crow and applied that now, we would be better off. Meaning like during Jim Crow, we still had cop abuse, we still had lynchings, we still had a racism, had to come in through the back door. We had all of that, but we had a plan of building. Now today, we got those same exact things, but there's nobody building. When you start talking about building Black, and the sad part about it is first we have to say building Black. We have to say support Black business. You ever notice we have to say support Black business? The reason why we got to say support Black business is because we don't support Black business. Because we're ashamed of Black. They did for example, they did a doll test. They do a doll test like every 10, 12 years or something like that. And Black kids are still choosing the white dolls over the Black dolls because we're not the ones putting out slave movies. We could be we might be the directors, we're the actors, we're all of that. But that's Hollywood. That's America making sure that we are still have the slave. Even that movie Panther with Chadwick Boseman and the other cat, they made him the villain. And what happened at the end? He's the one get unalived, and the one that's for integration and joining and giving away all the power to everybody, he gets to live. So what's happening? I'll land in like 10 seconds. So what's happening today is that yes, we are still slaves because the system that we see everywhere puts things out there to keep us that way. Movies, media, everything keeps us in the fear of either being a slave or keeping us with a slave mentality. I know this firsthand because when I go out and teach, I'm teaching to be with us, to build our own. And then it's people saying, no, you got to love this white man. You got to love this. You got to do that. I can't point out the problems that's happening to us without somebody saying that we have to join other people. So I think we're still slaves mentally. When I'm saying we, and you notice I'm saying we, so it's a general statement. Yeah, before you go, real quick, the photographer I was talking about was George Hocker. George Hocker was a black photographer and was one of the CIA's first black spy masters who worked within that organization.
Okay, but so here's the thing with that, right? And you're right. There are a lot of black people that are still slaves mentally. That absolutely exists. I'm not even going to deny that. However, to me, that is ridiculous considering the amount of information that we've had since the 70s, the amount of information we've had since the 70s as it pertains to pro-blackness, knowledge of self, books like the education of the Negro, books like the ISIS papers, books like all of these different, all of these scholars that we've had countless scholars that have constantly educated Black people on the history of not just America, but the world, and debunked a lot of pseudoscience that made Black people look a certain way, right? So at that point, we got to start asking, where's the personal responsibility when it comes to a person having a slave mentality? When it comes to a person, because look, here's the thing. When you bring up buy black, right? Well, the reason why buy black doesn't work, and the reason why you have to constantly preach it almost to the degree that you have to shame Black people into it, is because the white man's ice is always colder. But the white man's ice is only colder because Black people believe that anything white people do is going to be better.
You're making my point.
Now that may be, you can argue that is a remnant of slavery. You can argue that is a remnant of the ideological views of America. But like I stated previously, we've had constant knowledge and scholars that have contradicted that and that have provided so much context and so much knowledge that if you still believe the white man's ice is colder, that shit is on you. That is nobody else's fault. And let me just say this and I'll land it. When it comes to the doll test, there's a reason why the doll test always goes in that direction. It goes back to what I was talking about with Skinner and Pavlov. It's social conditioning. If you grow up in a society where everything that is associated with the word Black is evil, and everything that's associated with the word white is good. Black is dirty, Black is evil, Black is midnight, Black is, and I know Tommy knows this because people try to come at him because he's dark skinned. So whenever you have a society, Black Friday, what was it when the wall,
blacklist, everything with black in the front, Malcolm X, when he talked about that in the book, in the dictionary.
Yeah, the dictionary. When you break down the dictionary definition of Black, it's always something horrible. When you break down the definition of white, it's always something good. And it's not just the dictionary there are certain visual things when it comes to television shows, cartoons, advertising. So these children who are very perceptive when they're young, this is when they learn the easiest. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the age where you could teach them multiple languages and they'll learn it quickly. They're absorbing all of this stuff. So when they put the black doll in front of them, of course they're going to be like, no, because in their mind, black is bad, right? So if we want to fix that, that has to do with fixing the educational system and the culture around black and white. You feel me?
But
okay, let me jump in for a
oh,
second as a moderator. Let me jump in for a second to further that discussion, that part right there. Let me throw this out there and see what you think about this, Cap. Yes, everything black is bad, everything white is good, the doll test. But what if this is not a design thing by race? Let me explain. Most human beings would rather be in a room where the sheets and the walls were white than if the sheets and the wall were black. And I don't think there was something that taught us that. I think mankind learned to love the light because there was a safety in the light and there was a fear of the dark.
Yeah.
Because in the dark, there are things you don't know that could be there that could harm you. So I think mankind tend to like the light because you could see more of it. I say as myself as a dark-skinned person, I remember taking a picture with some friends of mine, and I am not lying. I didn't know I was in the picture with them friends of mine. They took the picture, and they said, you in this picture, and I'm the one who was in the picture, said, where? Let me tell you why. I had on a white shirt. Them niggas was light-skinned like y'all. The camera decided, what is it supposed to focus on? The white in my shirt blew me out to the point of the white had merged in with the background and the chair that I was on, and I couldn't see me until they pointed me out. So part of that might be just because even when they take pictures of black women and they're supposed to be pretty, they have to lighten them enough to see the features because you couldn't tell what
year was
they
this?
had.
What year was the photo?
We were in college. I think it was 97.
Technology is racist.
So that's what I'm saying. So is there a cap? Can we blame every time somebody doesn't choose the dark and they choose the light? Can we blame that on racism? Or maybe there's something more that this might just be considered good as a human. Go ahead.
I'm gonna respond to everything. But I'm gonna respond to Tommy first and what Angry Man said.
Perfect.
I disagree with that because the white man created or black people, one of the two, I believe it was white people, created something called the brown paper bag test. The brown paper bag test is the origin of preferring light over dark, because they would take that brown piece of paper that be the color of this pick, and they would put it next to you. So like me, I guess I'd be good because I'm light skinned. But if I put this next to Tommy, they say, no, nigga, go in the back. So now imagine dark-skinned people knowing of the the brown paper bag test, and how you couldn't get ahead in American society. And because you couldn't get ahead in American society, and because black people, instead of black people saying F your society, because I love my brother more than your society, and then they inherit this, they create an environment of preferring this color over a darker color. So even that was social engineering, like you said with that guy Pavlov with the dog. So even the care of light skin and dark skin in the doll test is social engineering. When you talk about the information that black people have had, we're what you would call, like back in the days, they used to call it the Chitlin circuit. The Chitlin circuit was like the little mom and pop spots you would go and perform at, and you trying to make it to the big time. I remember watching the Temptations, and going to the Copacabana was so important to the owner of Motown that he had the Temptations change their music.
Yeah.
So they changed their whole concept of music to not perform for their people because they wanted to make it to Copacabana. And I say that to say, with all the information that we came out as the Chitlin circuit, right? Because I would be a part of that. I'm the minority. Malcolm is the minority, but Martin, that's the Copa. Martin Luther King, oh, he's the Copa. He's the creme de la creme of the perfect black man for white supremacy, because Martin Luther King, but at least before he died, because I know everybody like to say, well, before he died, he was kind of changing, he was coming more back home. But at his precipice, at his tipping point, he was integration, he was love everybody, he was nonviolent. So when we come out and speak and try to give proper information, we are fighting against that principle. So it's not that there's not information out there. Like I said, the $40 million slave, which is written by a good author, breaks down a lot of stuff historically where we failed at the job, but we're still the minority. So black people do have to be accountable. But when you're fighting against this machine, it's hard from going out there on the streets, and then there's movies that's reminding us of a position we're supposed to be in. You gonna say something, Tommy?
Yeah, I want to say something. Throw this out to y'all, and I know. I wanted to wait till you were finished.
Okay, yeah, we'll do a little bit more. So when they throwing things out there to constantly belittle a black man, like when I think about Hollywood, if you go back to when that black bitch, oh excuse me, I'm trying to be nice here. Black
It was going well. I got dog.
When they made that movie Color Purple, before Color Purple, they had that movie, that book, I'm Not Your Superwoman. So when the machine, and the reason why I point that out, because that's Gloria Steinem working with black women, because black women is now propagating for them. And so when that they put out on the machine to make black men look bad, make it look like they no good, they womanizers, don't take care of their kids. And then you have us bringing out correct information that when black fathers is in kids' life, their life is better. Nobody really knows that. People still think black fathers are horrible.
Yes.
When we know that black fathers are not horrible. Black fathers in kids' lives are the best thing to ever happen to kids. But we're the Chitlin circuit. The minority is black fathers are horrible. So when it comes back to slavery, and I'll land here, when it comes back to slavery, it should, if slavery triggers you, this you was in general, not nobody on stage, just to the whole audience that we have. If slavery triggers you, work on your mental. And what I would advise, when you hear the word slavery, don't think what you think the person is going to say. Listen to what they're going to say. Because when I brought up slavery, it was only after Mr. Fantastic had brought up how to sell to the Negro, which I knew was in the 50s, which was only so far removed from slavery. And I knew that the white man said from studying us, they knew that they could sell to us materialistically. And 50, 60 years later, they still know they can do the same thing.
Okay, I'm gonna let Angry Man retort, because my question, because I looked like he wanted to jump in on this. So my question will be after Angry Man.
That's fine.
So you brought up Gloria Steinem, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I did.
In the Color Purple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree that entire movie was made for the purpose of denigrating black men. And I've talked about this numerous times with regard to why. I remember when I was a kid, I used to wonder why is she calling him Mister? And why is her name Miss Seeley? You know, and to me, it's like, you know, she's the homemaking woman, so she's a silly woman, right? That's how I took it. And Mister is just a way of
that whole movie. Not the side. I hate it. Yeah, and better than me.
And Mister is to basically not give him a identity. He just represents all black men, right? But here's the thing. When it comes to the history of slavery, right? There's certain aspects of the effects of slavery that we just completely ignore. And we latch on to other parts of it. We latch on to certain parts of it. And to me, I feel like if we were to ever really fix it, I feel like the priorities of what we latch on to are wrong. You understand? Like when you look at the history of slavery, slavery is not something that is specific to us, but we've made it a central part of our identity, which is why the other day when we were having the discussion and we got into the part about, black men kind of overcorrecting by being flashy, materialistic, because we didn't have certain things and we wanted to be viewed a certain way. And the sisters brought up, well, isn't there a history of that in Africa? Isn't there a history of people in the past that were flashy, wore a lot of jewelry and things of that nature? But the interesting thing is, and I'm not saying that's what you did, but I noticed this is what people do a lot. People will start our history at slavery. And to me, that is one of the biggest mistakes that we make. You feel me? Because we never get into the conversation. Like, it's all these years later, everybody could tell you every aspect of slavery. They could tell you how many years it was. They could tell you how many ships. They could tell you all of these different things, but nobody can tell you whether or not their forebearers came over from Africa or whether they were already here. And so we never get into any of the real stuff that might actually be beneficial to where we can actually glean some sort of legacy and history that doesn't center on us being enslaved, beaten, denigrated, and treated less than human. Because I feel like if we continue to just focus on that, it's like we don't have a standard to look at. Because if you look at other groups have endured slavery, but that's not the thing they pride themselves on. You get what I'm saying? That's not, when they look at their history, that's not the thing they pride themselves on. You feel what I'm saying? And it may be because we don't have a definitive victory, right? Where we fought and won, you feel me? Kind of like with the Haitian Revolution. They can focus on the Haitian Revolution and say, well, we won in spite of what was done after the fact and all of that stuff. But with us, we don't have like a definitive victory where it's like, because Civil War was white and black and all of these different things. So my thing is, I just feel like we make slavery like our origin story. And it's not. And it's not. And if we make it our origin story, then that means that, like, when somebody came out with the name Descendant of Slaves, what?
Yeah, I
That's
hate
the
that.
craziest
I
shit
ain't
on planet Earth, bro.
Yeah, I didn't understand that at all.
We're not Slavic people. We're not even the people that the word slave came from. So it's like, to me, I'm not feeling that. Like, I was going to say this in this debate. I didn't want to go into the fantastical, but I'm going to say it anyway. If I had the ability, if I were the supreme ruler of black people, I wouldn't even teach slavery. I would tell them a lie. I would lie to them and say that their history was something totally different that would give them more pride in themselves and a higher standard. And then I would sit back and see how black people function with that.
I'm going to let you jump in, but I got to say this. That was a great point. I've never heard that before like that. And it's a great point because let me give you an example of something modern day that happened. The Detroit Lions, the Chicago Cubs, and the Boston Red Sox, what were they known as? Lovable losers. Mm-hmm. The people who were fans of them, what did they end up becoming fans of? The disappointment.
Yeah.
They literally called the Cubs the lovable losers. Do you know that a lot of Cubs fans have lost their identity once they won the World Series? They don't know what to be. They were so used. Somebody tell me if I'm lying. Anybody that's ever been fans of those teams, they had become so used to it, they wanted it, they needed it. To the point of where when they won, they don't know what to call them. You don't know what to call the Cubs now. They're no longer the lovable losers. Their identity was losing. The Boston Red Sox. They were, what was that? I think their slogan was 1908 or 1910 or something like that. This is the last time they won, and that was their slogan. When they won, they didn't know what to do. And if the Detroit Lions win, they won't know what to do. Do you think, Cap, that a part of what's happening, this is a two-pronged question, that maybe blacks have become so used to it that whites are smart enough, being as they advertise the Cubs as lovable losers? Do you think, 1918, thank you, Lisa Love. Do you think that they did that to blacks with slavery, to the point of where black people who never experienced slavery, the passing down, just like white kids who never experienced their Cubs never winning, it's just when they came, they still were the lovable losers. They wanted to be that. Somebody said the Browns too. Do you think that passing this down just kind of gave us an identity because, like Angry Man said, we didn't have no other one? So that's the only identity we had, and we just latched onto it, and we don't want to lose it, even though we're not slaves anymore, even though we got some wins on our back now, even though nobody's whipping you and sicking dogs on you, we still bring that up. Part two. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, the greatest boxer of all time, Muhammad Ali. Two of them had something in common. One of them was different. What did two of them have in common, and what was different about the other one? I'll tell you.
Okay.
Two were light-skinned, one was dark-skinned. Which two were the loudest? Which two were the loudest, Cap?
I'm not
the light-skinned one. So why were the light-skinned ones able to go? Martin Luther King was the soft one. Let me give you another name.
Oh, you said, but when you say loud, I'm thinking speaking. If you're saying soft, then I would agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you look at it, and I can put one more in there. The guy who they let integrate in baseball, the first one.
Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson, what color was he? Dark. So both of the dark men who were the revolutionaries, what did they have to do in order for white people to hear them?
They had to be
soft-spoken.
Yeah.
Weak, damn near.
Yeah.
Everybody will tell you Martin Luther King wasn't like that at home, but he had to be that way in public. Same way with Jackie Robinson. Because when we talk about how people relate to, we had a so-called first black president. He'd have never been president if he was my color. So maybe there's something involved in that says there's a reason why you got so many really light-skinned people online right now yelling pro-black, and nobody really gets mad at them. Y'all got a half-breed woman running around saying fuck white people, and her daddy white. Nobody says a word.
Who daddy white?
Most of the ones who do the most yelling and screaming have to be light-skinned, because white people at least accept them being loud. When I get loud, I get tased. When I get loud, I get shot. Do you see that maybe there's something when you're talking about color? Maybe it's color across the board, that again, the dark guy seems to be more threatening than the light guy. And also the lovable losers conversation. Go.
The white daddy, Candace Owens got a white daddy?
Yeah. She light skinned.
That's a white woman. I didn't know she was a white woman. You know, if your daddy white, you white. You ain't black.
The seed of the father?
Yeah, you the seed of your daddy. So if you got your grandfather, father on your father's side, whatever that is, that's what you are. You ain't black.
You know, because if Steph Curry get out there and get the yelling, nobody take it serious.
Shut up, man. But hey, but to be historically accurate, Martin did not want to be that way, regardless of his complexion.
No, that's what I'm telling you. I said he wasn't that way at home. He had to be that way in order to be heard.
No, a gay man told him to do that. Bayard Rustin is the one that introduced Mahatma Gandhi's nonviolent nonsense and convinced him. He would.
Well, like Jesus. I mean, he was following.
No, it wasn't Jesus. No. When you look up the history, Jesus ain't got nothing to do, because he was going to be more on the lines of Deacons of Defense. And Bayard Rustin, an open homosexual, which is another enemy to black men. I mean, ain't no more enemy. I don't know who's worse, the black woman or the gay man. But that gay man, Bayard Rustin, convinced Martin Luther King to be nonviolent. Without Bayard Rustin, I would wonder what type of man Martin would have been without
dead. He would have been dead before the movement started because he'd have been too black to be yelling. My man, Angry Man, agreeing with this. Come on now, you know it is more palatable to white people to hear a lighter skinned man be upset.
I don't disagree with.
Okay.
I don't disagree with the light versus dark. I would just point. That's why I said historically speaking, Martin spoke that way because a gay man influenced him. But I'm not disagreeing that they want the light skinned man as opposed to a dark skinned man. That's why I brought up the doll test. They used to take the brown paper bag test. They used to take that brown. Wait, if I could, real fast. Thank you. So that brown paper bag test was important because if you was too dark, they didn't want you. So I don't disagree that it's about what white people want. I'm talking about we accepted. That's why I first said we should have thrown away the light skin, dark skin, and it shouldn't have mattered. Like we shouldn't suffer colorism because of that. When you go to the loser thing, which I was going to say, like if I pray Angry Man is never the king or president or dominant man over black people ever, because he said he would lie to him about the history of slavery. That's a weak king, because if you're a king and actually in charge of black people, he also made a point to say that other nations have been enslaved before, but other nations have gotten over that slavery and they still talk about it. And how do they talk about it? The Jewish people that talk about that Holocaust, they have never stopped talking about the Holocaust. The only difference, and I'm gonna put your little loser thing, when you say the Cubs and the Red Sox and all of them, the Cubs and the Red Sox will make it to the playoffs and lose. They would make it to maybe the conference finals and lose. And it would all, I remember, because I'm a Mets fan.
The Cubs wouldn't make it out the basement. Now the Cubs was known for being in the fight. They were at the bottom of the Red Sox every year.
No, I'm covering the Red Sox, the Cubs. I'm covering all three of them. Okay. I remember in 86, because I'm older. I remember in 86.
Yeah, with between the legs.
Yeah, and he went between the legs. But it happened in the World Series. Yeah. So it's not that the Boston Red Sox didn't have no moments along the way, just like it's not like black people don't have moments along the way in American history, but the Red Sox did win a World Series. Black people have not won the World Series to even know what it's
not. We claim we did though, Kemet, all that stuff, right?
No. What I'm talking about in America, I'm talking about here. The analogy you gave is a baseball team in America and made it seem like because we have the concept of losers, we just accepted losing, even though we've had victories. That's what you said. We've had victories. So so that's why I'm using the Red Sox. The Red Sox have had victories. They've gotten close, and then they wouldn't win.
Well, I know, but you said we haven't had any victories here in the United States. No,
I didn't say no. What I'm saying we did. I said we've never won the World Series.
Yeah, we never won it all, just like they didn't.
No. What I'm saying, I'm talking about black people. So what I'm doing is the black people, like the Boston Red Sox, have been to a World Series. So there have been points where it looked like we're about to turn the corner. There's been points where we make the playoffs, where we get this player that worked real good, that pitched real good. We got Pedro Martinez. We got all of these players, but black people have never experienced the World Series victory to know what it's like to not think about slavery, whereas the Red Sox have. The Red Sox have experienced that. I would want my people to at least experience what it's like to not know what to do because we can't talk about slavery no more. Do you know what that would do for black people? And the crazy part about it is, like I was saying to Angry Man earlier, it's not us. Thank you. It would. The crazy thing about us is it ain't just the Red Sox. It wasn't their fault. They're playing the game. They didn't have the owner of the baseball league plotting against them to make sure that they lose. They didn't have the umpires plotting to make sure that they lose. They did?
Yeah. Back then, listen, the setup in Major League Baseball has been known for years. We want the big market team. We want the Yankees to make it because every time the Yankees make it to the playoffs, more eyes are on it. We don't
Well,
like
what
small
I'll
market
say-
teams making it, which is the reason why the New York Knicks ended up getting Patrick Ewing. They literally
remember that.
gave
I remember that.
Yeah,
I
they
remember that.
gave Patrick Ewing to them.
You can say Michael Jordan too. So now, with that said, sounds like what you're saying is for the little guys, the odds are stacked against them.
It is.
So for us being the little guys, the odds are stacked against us. So we're not playing a fair game here. We know that you have COINTELPRO, you have Jim Crow, you have redlining, you have systematic racism, all these things. And with all that said, I don't believe any of them are an excuse not to succeed as Black people. I don't believe
Angry Man.
I don't believe the fact that they're redlining or have redline is an excuse. I don't believe the fact that they're arresting us, that they're putting us in prison, putting drugs. I don't think none of that is an excuse to not be a Black man and do what you know is right. But it is important to know what they're doing and have done so we can stop being susceptible to it. That's how I talk about it.
Angry Man has been champing at the bit, so I'm gonna let him go. First off, brother in the comment section said, Thomas, Chicago is not a small market. I never said Chicago was a small market, nor would Boston be considered a small market, but they were considered small markets when it came to the sporting world, because the world wanted these big cities like New York to win. They didn't want anybody else. Hell, Atlanta's not a small market. Has anybody gave a shit about Atlanta teams ever? Has anybody wanted Atlanta teams in the World Series anywhere? No, the numbers go down when they're there. When you got the Dodgers and the Yankees in the World Series, or you got the Mets and the Yankees in the World Series, the number one right now, if the Mets and the Yankees went to the World Series right now, they label it the Subway Series again,
Yep.
and it would literally be the most viewed World Series of all time. Go ahead, Angry Man.
Okay, so there's somebody in the chat that kind of expressed the same sentiment as Cap, that Angry Man should never be the ruler, the supreme ruler of Black people, because Angry Man would lie about slavery, right? So I want to explore
Get him,
this
Angry Man.
I want to explore this for a second. So I'm going to ask a series of questions, and I just want to, I just want a brief
like
answer.
yes and okay, I got you. I'm with you.
I just want a brief answer, right?
I could do that
because I'm on a train of thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
So would you say that part of Black people's oppression has to do with imperialism, colonialism?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say that imperialism, colonialism has lied about history?
Yes.
Okay. So would you say that, who would you say for most of recent history has ruled the world? White or Black?
The so-called white man.
The so-called white man, right? Mm-hmm. So would you also agree that the British Empire in recent history had one of the biggest empires ever to exist?
The British, you said? Yeah, they had.
British
I would
Empire.
say they had one. Yeah, I would say they had.
Okay, so their flag has flown over more countries than anybody else, right?
Yeah, okay.
Would you say that they lied about history?
Yep.
So what you're telling me, you and the other individual in the chat room, what you're telling me is that I would be a horrible king if I lied to the people in order for them to have a different history that makes them look good, so that they would actually have higher self-esteem, which we have noticed historically has led to other groups ruling the world.
Yeah, because, can I explain why?
Go ahead.
They don't lie about losing. That's why I use like the Holocaust, for example. The Holocaust, they're never going to lie about that. They're going to say we whipped their ass. America, why you make that face, Tommy? Oh,
I'm not the moderator,
okay.
and I ain't
Okay,
shit,
no
I'm
sweat.
dark skinned. But I gotta say this. I was gonna say it at the beginning.
Okay.
You're wrong. White people lie all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
I just
They've lied about their history all the time.
All the time.
No, I agree that they lied. But
And they do it They
He's
do
saying,
it.
Let
Let me just say this real quick.
Mhm.
They do it in order to mitigate the losses.
Yep.
They do it in order to mitigate. Look, if I were, let me be more specific. If I were the supreme ruler of black people, the portion of
Can I put the
time.
caveat in your supreme rulership?
Go ahead.
Did y'all win in slavery? Like, did you free your people as
No,
the supreme rule? So you never freed them, right?
no.
But you just in charge. That's why I'm just trying to get your caveat. Like, you're the supreme ruler of
I'm
people that
getting
work.
Oh,
it
I
right
get
now.
what Cap is asking. I don't think you might get it, Anger Man. Listen to what he's saying. If you freed him, then you can lie about everything that happened before, and he'd be okay with that.
Right.
But if
Yeah, I
they're
know,
still
to the
oppressed
victor-
and you're lying to them,
That's
No,
what,
no,
it's
no,
spit on them and tell them it's rain.
you see
No,
the difference, Tommy?
no,
I
that's
do.
not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying, right?
That's what I'm trying to get.
That's what he's asking. He want to know what are you saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. In the thought exercise that I'm giving you a thought exercise. If I'm the supreme, if I'm the supreme ruler of black people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. Y'all seen the movie The Village, right?
Yeah, that's the one when they was out in the village and they had them fake monsters.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
familiar with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, the
So
color
basically,
red? That
Tommy-
movie with the color red?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I did see it.
Okay, so if I had the ability to take a portion of black people, let's say 20 men, 20 women, right? And I took them somewhere, let's say I bought a military base that was isolated, that was away from everybody else, right? And I were to teach, have those people mate, have children. And for a few generations, I taught them the history I wanted them to know that excluded slavery. I just taught them all of the greatness and I threw some little lies in there and I embellished a little bit. What I'm saying to you is that I believe, keyword being believe, because this is a theory.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that those black people, if I reintroduce them into today's society, they would outperform other black people.
So that's what I mean. So, like, America felt they was oppressed to the British, and they had the 13 colonies. They overthrew the boats. They went to war. They beat the hell out of them. However they tell that story, they're going to tell the story as victorious over England. And then they would begin to establish the other states that would eventually become the 50 states of America.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Jewish Holocaust that they talk about, and they put you in remembrance of it. Why? Because they went to World War, they got the victory over it. So if you're a king that's gonna hide, like Tommy said, hide the idea of slavery, not because we won, but because we lost, and you want to throw an experiment out there to just say, well, slavery never happened, so get over it. That's not a king.
You're not getting what I'm saying. There's it's like Thanos. You remember on the Avengers, Thanos said, nobody's gonna know it because I'm gonna snap my fingers and it's never going to have existed. The thing that, look, right now as we speak, that's why I was really interested when you said that would be a bad king. That would be every king that has ever existed.
But you got to remember the caveat Cap keeps putting in there, and the one that you just said with Thanos is snapping. Thanos won, so therefore, because he
got
won,
the glove.
Yeah, he got it. So what he's asking is, if you are, because I think if you look at it this way, COINTELPRO put black people in charge of black people. So technically, they were the king of black people, whether it was Martin Luther King, as people followed him that were black, or Al Sharpton. But if you put Al Sharpton in charge, it's a white man who's running him and having him lie to his people. Therefore, the lie that he's giving his people is not giving them power. It's actually doing what Nat Turner learned when they allowed him to preach the Bible to the other black slaves. It was sedating them, so to speak. It was making them, So that's what he's asking. He said, if you win, he don't mind whatever lie you told. because
Right.
you
No,
tell me from a
that
But you
winner's
gotta
standpoint.
win first.
no, that
And
caveat.
an angry man's analogy, he not winning.
No, that caveat does not change anything. And the reason why it doesn't change anything, did Columbus really discover America?
No,
No, but the whites were winning, so they can lie and say it.
they can say that.
Is he credited with discovering America?
Yes, because the
Yes.
whites were the ones who wrote the history book.
Right.
Okay, but that's my look. Here's the thing, man. Y'all always do this, man. Y'all did this last week. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter. And the reason why it doesn't matter in my freaking thought exercise is because the entire reason that Black people are losing in my thought exercise is because of the stain of losing. It's because Vince Lombardi said that winning is a habit, but so is losing. So if you have a group of people that are always losing, and it's their mentality that they're always going to lose, that they're always set to lose. The reason why they're in that situation is because they have this one portion of their history that is a supreme loss. And that supreme loss continues to get rehashed over and over again. What I'm saying is, what happens if you have a portion of people that never knew that loss existed, whether or not they're ruling the world or somebody else is ruling the world? That's the thought exercise. Would those same people, that's the experiment, would those people that don't know anything about that loss, how would they function in today's society not knowing about that loss?
Fair.
And keep in mind, and just to be clear, just to be 100, keep in
Fair.
mind, in that experiment, nobody that knows about the loss has the ability to convince them of the loss. You get what I'm saying?
That's fair.
Yeah,
That description, I want you to say, and you got to stop putting your head in your hand and saying that people don't understand. There's a moderator. What I'm doing is trying to tell you, and that's why a lot of people in the comment section said the way that me and Cap were hearing that, we needed to know if there was a winner, if we had won or not, because we had seen too many people be put in position. I mean, we've seen puppet leaderships put up to where that guy's the puppet of someone else, and the lie he's propagating is keeping those people down and making them not know they're oppressed. Now, what you said, that clarification was great.
What did he
Now-
say that was clarifying?
Okay, I'll try to explain to you in short form. He's saying the winners, if he was Thanos with the glove, nobody would remember anything that happened, and everybody would feel we're all at the same place today. He believes that if blacks had no memory of the loss and whites had no memory, because if you think of history affects both people. We never talk about how if the black students who were at the black kids' parents telling them what to do when they went to that school, well, the white kids' parents have been telling them for years black kids wasn't shit either. So therefore, both of them were subjected to what someone told them. He's saying he would take both of them out, so neither would know.
Yeah.
Now going forward, he believes without that knowledge of being a loser every day, the black people would perform better without that knowledge than they're doing currently with that knowledge. Am I correct or no, Angry Man?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I still
Yeah.
that's a horrible king. I would never want that king to ever rule over me, because
Explain.
that's not manly. Men want to fight to get what they want. They don't want to live a pipe dream of just wipe it out of my memory. They want the victory. They want to have known that I've defeated the enemy. That theory that he just came up, that goes in the pocket list of the loser mentality. Like, I wish we could just get this out of our memory because the fight is just too hard.
Well, I wish I
actually
never knew a
doesn't.
nigga skeeted in my girl's face. I think our relationship
It
would be
actually
better.
doesn't. It
No,
actually
no,
doesn't.
no, wait,
So-
Our
so-
relationship would be better.
let me just.
Oh, it actually doesn't.
It absolutely does. It is diabolical. If Thanos did it, like you said, Tommy, because we talking Marvel now. Once we get into the Marvel world, this is not real no more. So if Thanos did it, Thanos went to war with all of the look at this. I'm gonna go. Listen, I'm gonna find my glove. But Thanos went to war with niggas in the earth, niggas in out of the world. He was unalive and he was slaughtering, he was pillaging, doing everybody to get that glove Tommy has in his hand, snapped his finger and beat the shit out of everybody. So the people not remembering because Thanos whooped their ass. That's why they don't remember. But his theory is he just wants us to forget like nobody's fighting.
Actually, no, the moment that I'm talking about when he said that he's going to wipe out the entire universe and rebuild it, that was after they had defeated him. That was after they had defeated him and brought everybody back.
Yeah.
Well, technically,
he's right. Hey, let me explain to you what he's talking about.
Exactly.
Hold on, you may not know the point he's talking about.
I do know.
What he said was what they said to him was everybody's gonna know how you built this new earth on blood, and he told them
he said they won't remember it because they won't.
Nobody will know. Only people will be here. Remember, if my wife cheated on me and the baby isn't mine, if I accept it, why does the truth need to be said?
You know what Marvel had to do, Tommy? You know what Marvel had to do? These niggas had to go back in time to beat the nigga that they beat.
A win is a win. A win is a win.
They had to make a okay. No sweat. A win is a win, but the king has to win. Even if you take that Marvel analogy, Captain America didn't settle. Iron Man didn't settle. None of them settled. They still went, even risking going back in time so that they can bring their people back. Because unless they was in that position, it didn't matter.
But if
y'all doing a great job right now. I'm telling y'all both swaying me to y'all arguments. Y'all both sway. I don't know if it's because I done looked into these light-skinned niggas' eyes, but they both.
Wait, let me just say this right here.
Y'all both winning.
Because to fight to win is more important than to bow down. And that's what they did. So in the first movie, in the second to last movie, Thanos won. In the last movie, they made sure they went back in time. The girl Scarlet died for niggas because they fight. Listen, Scarlet and Black Widow and Hawk are fighting to die to unalive themselves so that they could win because that's how important it was to them. Now, when I know that story, that shit is the bomb right there.
Well, let me ask you this question.
King just said, "Hey man, I'm gonna just make y'all forget this shit.
Ask you this
I don't want to fight these niggas at all." I don't want that story.
Let me ask you this question. So, I'm a king, supreme ruler of black people. Would you consider me taking away? Let's say that I did succeed. Let's say that this did make black people better, right? Mm-hmm. If I took away the history of slavery, would you consider that cheating?
If you beat the enemy and you took it away, I wouldn't care. If you got that in your caveat, as long as you whoop somebody ass, my king has to whoop ass.
Wait, hold on.
Okay. Angry man, I'm gonna throw you a bone. One of your listeners said something that was very important. He said all that stuff Cap said was great. But everybody who was doing that fighting knew the history, which is anti what Angry Man said.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. So
Angry Man.
I'm asking. The reason why I'm asking, would you consider that cheating? And you said if you started to say if they won, but based off of the premise of what I believe you may believe, and what a lot of black people believe is. Black people continuing to be a second-class citizen is the win for the oppressor. So if black people begin to succeed because they don't have that history and they begin to prosper, is that or is that not winning?
I don't know if I look at it. Yes, it's winning at the surface level.
Okay.
My only issue with how you're saying the winning occurs, because whether we go with Thanos winning or them winning, they fought to do it. So if you take the Thanos side,
the fight. Here's the thing. I'm not talking about a necessary physical battle. I'm talking about because a win does not necessarily have to be physical. It could be ideological. It could
It
be,
could be anything, right? But
yeah, it could
remember,
be anything. So,
if we're talking about slavery, to get enslaved, somebody had to defeat you, to enslave you. So
yeah.
to get out of slavery, you have to beat them. Doesn't now? I'm
Well,
and I,
no, see, wait. Now, let's go back to that because I'm
Mhm.
going to explain why I said we didn't win. The
right.
only reason why I said that, let me provide context,
Okay.
is because we didn't get our slavery, we didn't get our freedom from slavery because the black slaves rebelled and won the way the Haitian Revolution was.
Right.
The only reason I'm saying we didn't win is because we needed help from the other side in order to gain our freedom. So that's the only reason I'm saying we didn't win. You get what I'm saying?
But I agree with you with that. Like, I don't think we've won anything yet. That's why I like the analogy Tommy gave with the Boston Red Sox. We just went to a couple playoff series. We went to the World Series, but we have not won the ring. We have not won the Super Bowl. We have not won the championship because we still think we need everybody else. That's why I said when I talk about slavery, I talk about it from a reality, not an excuse. So my position is when you brought up in the early 1900s when we was building those different things during Jim Crow, we wasn't looking for a handout from anybody. We wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
We was building amongst ourselves. And wasn't racist like I would be. Me, when I'm saying racist or prejudice, I should say where I don't think we should sleep with white people, be with white people, be with Chinese, XYZ like that. We should create our own ecosystem. They was building it. We have
Mm-hmm.
never seen the fruition of that. That's our playoff series. That's our World Series. And then the GM and everybody make sure that we lose. The odds stacked against us. So we're not winning. So the only way we win is if we look at what happened during slavery. So not look at slavery from an excuse position, but look at slavery from selling to the Negro. Okay, they placated on our materialism. So can we still be materialistic? Yes. Can we still rock jewelry, gold? Yes. But we know how to make clothes ourselves. We know
Yeah,
how to make now.
see, here's the thing, and this is
Mhm.
the reason why I present this. The reason why I present the idea of lying about slavery, right? The reason why I present the idea of that. So the other side don't have no problem doing whatever they have to do to win.
Facts.
Lie, cheat, steal, whatever, right?
Facts.
The point that I'm trying to make, and it was proven when you said, nah, that's not a good king, and somebody in the chat room said, nah, angry man, that's a horrible idea.
Definitely.
The problem with us is that anything we do, we don't count it as a win unless we do it righteously.
I ain't talking about righteous right now. I don't care how you would have beat him. If he'd have
Okay,
beat,
but
if that king would have
you
beat
may
the,
be saying that, but that's the typical thing with black people.
right. No,
We
I agree with
wanna
that. We want to be upright, brother. You got to do it
be
right.
righteous,
Mm-hmm.
morally correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I say that about lying about the history, I'm not crazy. I know what type of effect it would have if it was possible to do it. I'm not saying it's possible, but in the thought exercise, if it was possible to snap my fingers, I got the gauntlet too. If I was able to snap my fingers and erase the history, that one portion, just erase that history of slavery from the minds of everybody and just sit back and watch how black people function, I honestly believe that black people would function better. You feel what I'm saying? So it then becomes a conversation of morality. If you can do it, should you do it? Right? And I know black people aren't even going to think about the benefits of it because they're going to be hung up on whether you should do it. Why are you going to lie to the people? Why you want to do that? And the other side doesn't have that issue. The reason why you look historically at kings and conquerors, what is the first thing they do when they conquer a land?
They rape the women. and they get rid of all the old. They do. They
And
rape
they
the women, they get rid
burn,
of the men, and get rid of all the old, all the old gods. The only
burn the
people who didn't do that
libraries.
was the Romans, and that cost them.
They burn the libraries, and then they reshape the society in their image with their gods and all of their different stuff. Right now, when we look at that group, you're 100% correct. They've won. They won numerous times. Right. The point that I'm trying to make is that the reason we don't win, in my opinion, is because we don't have that mentality.
Well, what I'll say is we actually do have that mentality. That mentality exists right in what's called the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, which is called ISUPK. Right above my damn head is where we have that mentality, because we also don't think about slavery. I'm going to use the same analogy when I was talking earlier about my brother. So how I was able to let it go about my brother, I told y'all about my father, what my father did. So I had a lot of subconscious animosity for my father that I took out on my brother. So as I'm analyzing how to get over it, me and my father's in the house one day, we painting my living room, and I just looked at him and I said, "Pop, I forgive you for everything you've done to me." He looked at me in shock and awe, didn't say a word. We continued to paint for about 10 or 15 minutes in silence, and then we talked about something else. And when I forgave my father, it freed my mind. I have never thought again about what my father did to me in a way that it affects how I conducted my relationship with my brother at all. And so in the Israelite school of UPK, Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shah Mashiach in the Hebrew said, "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." So as brothers and sisters come into ISUPK and we give them the truth, they are no longer prisoners to American slavery, their own sin, their own family problems, their own issues. We free them in a real time concept. Y'all lucky I don't have access to my damn glove, because now I'm the only one that ain't got a glove on the
Check this out.
panel.
You see this right here?
Yeah, mine's light up. Let me see. Go
You
like
see
this.
this right here?
Go like this.
You see this right here?
And you push the button.
This, because of this, the truth is whatever I make it. Damn it. The truth is whatever I make it.
To put
So
that
I'm
glove
snap
on,
my fingers,
right,
and make it reality.
But again, every time you put that glove on and say the truth is what I make it, you're showing that you had to fight to do it. You had to fight to get it. To get that red one, you had to fight. To get the blue one, you had to fight. And that's all I'm saying. And what we have to do this, and this is a good part of what I'm saying. In order for us to get over slavery,
you want to come off too?
Look at this nigga. Look.
This is the mind stone. We need the mind one.
Yeah,
you need to get into the minds of the youth.
I must got the mind embedded right here. So now,
I vision. I beige vision.
I don't want to be vision. No.
Beige vision. All right, beige vision.
Vision can't get no box. I don't want to be vision. I don't want to be vision. So, but like, because what we have to realize on the subject of slavery, if we're not willing to fight ourselves, like there's accountability that we got to have. Like when I talk, like a lot of these times on the internet, especially on YouTube, it's great black talking conversations, whether you talk about a black woman, black man, relationships, racism, the white man, XYZ, like that. I'm always talking from a position of acknowledging the root of the problem first, and then we could talk about everything else second. So when I bring up slavery, that's a root, and these things have happened from there. It's not to stay there, because I'm not enslaved to nobody. Neither is nobody in my school. We're not. If anything, we could be enslaved to the Most High, if you want to. Somebody want to say that, but we're not enslaved to nobody. But that comes from accountability, which is what black people suffer from. Which is what I agree with Angry Man's version of slavery, from his lens of how he. Well, I don't mean your personal version. I mean how you see people use it. When we see most people, because like I said, we're the Chitlin circuit. The mass media or the mass amount of black people is the popular circuit. and how they look at slavery as an excuse. Oh, I can't get no job because of slavery. I can't be a man because I'm slavery. I can't do this because of slavery. So with that, I agree with Angry Man. I only disagree when someone come to me. What did I say? There's a vision of white beige vision is crazy. It's only when someone. It's only when I say slavery and then someone looks at me as if I'm saying slavery like somebody else. That lets me know either you don't know me or you just don't know my position. Because I think as me and Angry Man is having this conversation, and there's things obviously that we don't agree 100%, but I would say we're about 80 to 85% in agreement. It's just the 15% that we disagree. Because as he's talked, I've agreed with some points he's made. As I've talked, he's agreed with points that I've made. It's just little minor things that we disagree with.
And I'll interject here. This is where, while I wanted it to happen, and ladies and gentlemen, just because I wanted it to happen, I want a chick that shaped like Meg Thee Stallion that know how to cook clean and don't cuss all the time. Take it in there. But that don't mean I'll get that. But I was able to get this, damn it. It was last minute. There was no pre-discussion. Yep. It was literally, I'm texting these niggas back and forth like on them nights when you be trying to text two bitches, see which one you can fuck and fuck around, and both of them said they'll come through. Now what am I gonna do?
Lord have mercy. That's I don't know if I like that analogy, Tommy.
Shut up!
Like that.
Shut up! This is my analogy. Anyway, what I'm saying is it was just really quick. I'm like, I don't think I can get them because I know they're busy, but I'm gonna see if I can get them to come through. And Angry Man at first was like, man, I got some shit to do. And he apparently moved some shit around to do this because he had other shit to do.
Right.
And I think this was pretty cool because, again, y'all never got to talk except for on the panel. And that shit was coming across as motherfuckers don't like me or got a problem with me. And I said, you know what?
If I'm being honest, that's what I thought. I thought he had an issue with me.
Same. Angry Man, do you think this nigga got a problem with me?
I'm gonna tell you, like it's been a couple of times that he would brush up with me and I couldn't understand it. So I didn't understand it. I did.
No, it's because of the overstimulation of multiple people having the conversation, and I'm trying to get in where I fit in. So occasionally I'm trying to get in when you're trying to get in, and so that's where the contention is at. It wasn't anything personal. It's just I'm trying to get in, and there's also the other, Tommy, you might not know about this. The other side of it is the light-skinned battle for supremacy. So
I don't have a light-skinned battle with supremacy, man. I'm that nigga no matter where I go. I think I'm superior to everybody, so I don't have that problem.
He's not telling you, Tommy, that if I defeat him, I gain all of his light skin powers. He ain't telling you that shit.
I'm gonna give you.
So what are you saying? Is this the Beigelander? The Beigelander. This is what it is, boy. Only one.
Yeah, he the Beigelander. That's him. Now, he telling the truth about himself. Now he want to be the Beigelander. I just want to be the brother on the panel. He want to be the Beigelander. Come on, man. Come on. We supposed to be brothers, man. We got to be better than this, man.
Beigelander is crazy.
Hell no. Somebody got an AI photograph, do a photo of the Beige.
I'm gonna do the photo.
We need
Beigelander is crazy, yo. Beigelander is crazy, yo. It's crazy, man.
Hell no. This gonna end up being a thing. I'm telling you, it's gonna.
Yeah, you fucked up saying
but the reason why this is better, and I saw a few people say this, and it is true. Like, look, the super panel is for like just, and I can see how Angry Man said, well, there's times where I'm thinking that this needs to be more than just I say a few things and a nigga jump in. And I can see Cap would say that too, but Cap was just more gracious. I would see sometimes he just be like, damn, I said 4 words, these niggas jumped in.
I would get on my phone. I would try to
right. He was playing.
He was like, this is the environment. So let it go. And I felt like this would be a proper. I felt like, and you can go, Angry Man, but I felt like this would be a proper environment to have that discussion, because that discussion y'all was trying to have it was difficult in that environment. Go ahead, Angry Man.
Yeah, I said he was playing Gallagher. He said
Classic
classic.
Clans in Boom Beach. That's what I
Yeah,
was
you thought we didn't notice.
Yeah.
So that man is playing Gallagher. Thought we wouldn't notice.
But yes, it became a difficult thing to have, and that's why I believe. And when people wonder why I would do the panels, I was like, I did them before. I was like, started them up, but my panels was never like this. Every nigga for himself, and let's see if I can diss somebody else, because my job is, if I'm up here, to sound smarter, better, and whatever than anybody else. I always felt like, because Cap know it, with me, I'm about to have the conversation. So if I'm not in the conversation, but it's a good conversation, I'm okay with it. If they playing good music and they won't let my music play, but the nigga that's up there rapping is doing a good job, why do I need to have a verse?
Right.
And I do believe Cap has that in him too. I think Cap will say, either I can be the leader of the charge or I can bodyguard.
Or I could just sit. Yeah, I could just sit back. I'm comfortable with just sitting back. Like, even it got to a point before we left. Before I left the panel, I'm sitting there for like 30, 40 minutes. I'm not talking. I don't have to talk just because I'm on the panel. Like, you want to pick your spots when to talk. If other people are engaged, we just want to always work it out like that. But sometimes there's going to be subjects where you want to get it in. And then those probably the times where you got to use the most discipline that you can have, especially if you're on a panel of 8 people. Otherwise, it's just everybody talking, try to be concise. Those are the things that, I would say that we should try to do going forward. So this Tuesday, we should not have this problem, right, Angry Man?
No, we ain't gonna have this problem. Because see, now
you my nigga again. Now you my nigga.
I got my timer and I got my notepad. So I've made.
Well, hold on a minute, nigga. I thought you were trying to call Captain Marvel. I thought that was the pager. I was like, we gotta get out of this Marvel lore. They gonna think we all nerds. I thought this nigga done brought out the pager.
Oh my god, that's funny because it actually lights up.
See,
because I got attention deficit disorder. Timer don't mean shit if I'm not paying attention to it, so it got to light up. You feel me? So
all the timer does is make me more anxious. You ever put that timer on your stove?
Yeah.
Tell you when the food's it just make me more anxious. I don't work with that. You the same way, Cap?
Yeah. I don't.
Timer make me more anxious.
It's crazy because I be trying to beat the timer. I try to beat the timer. I put that GPS, it say get there at 4:38. I'm trying to get there at 4:30. I'm beating everything.
Timer make me more anxious. I don't know why it does that.
I agree. I'm not really with the timer and anything, but I think this live stream was good. So maybe Angry Man to follow me again on Instagram because he unfollowed me and shit.
I didn't unfollow you, did I?
Yes, you did, nigga. Yes, you did. Yes, you did, nigga. I talk about it all.
Who follow me? Who don't? He pay attention to that shit.
Because when I went to message him to see if we was gonna still do the show, I said, "Damn, this nigga unfollow me, man." I said, "God damn, I thought we was homies and shit, man."
Man, I had that happen to me. That shit was horrible. It was a girl I had just got through sleeping with. She unfollowed me. I said, "It was that bad."
Yep. I'm about to follow him back. I'm about to follow him again. So maybe we could do because we were supposed to do a live.
There go the message right there, brother.
Let me see. Well, hold up. Let me see. I got
there go the message right there.
Look, wait, the last message. Definitely, you got same schedule. I said the last message. I'm typing something now. I'm gonna type something in there now.
Look.
Wait, I'm gonna type.
How y'all getting this shit to show up on camera every time I turn my phone?
Listen, I'm texting you, Shalom Yellow Highlander. That's what I'm.
Wait. Y'all got each other. Is that Instagram or y'all number?
I just texted you.
It's Instagram. Look, see that?
Yeah, I was about to say y'all had each other's number and ain't hooked this up. I tell you what, this has been like an honor. Let me tell you something, because I respect both of you brothers, and this was an honor to have you guys sit here and talk like this, because I think, and only one thing is I wish that like everybody's audience, I do appreciate you, Cap, for saying I'm gonna let my people come to your play. I wish that all of y'all audience had just only spoke in my group, so I would not know who's coming from where. So then I can't say that there's any bias, if that makes any sense. Because if I can see where they're coming from, and then the person agrees with you, I start to think, oh, they're just agreeing with you because they came from there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if you come in with a Bills, Yeah, if you come in with a Bills shirt on saying, and every time they score, you cheer, then I think, well, you're already a Bills fan. But if everybody has just a regular white shirt on and the two teams are playing, then I don't know who they are. And I then assume that you're cheering for the best sports event thing that happened.
You
That's
should
the
have
only
said
thing
that
I
before I
wish
went
happened
live.
when
I
get
would have
it.
done it, man.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't think there's a flaw here because you guys were respectful to each other. Nobody said they need to get some pussy. You get that because you didn't agree with their argument.
Yeah, I was offended because I ain't never had. I was like, damn, I ain't never had that problem. Like, goddamn.
I knew it was wrong because I was like, these niggas
I'm
light skinned. Neither one has that problem.
No, because I'm telling you, that was this. Yeah, that Tuesday was like the third. Excuse me. Yeah, I think that was the third time. Because remember the first time I said, "Angry man, I'm gonna make a clip out of you," which I did, because it was like a consistent coming at me. I'm like, damn. Well, what did I do to Angry Man? I ain't even do nothing to Angry Man. I'm like, damn. So I didn't understand it. So now it's like you got to get the what they call the 2015 Tazaryach. You know, I was a little bit more rougher back then. I'm not as crazy as I used to be. So that was.
Well, this is the good part about this discussion, though. A lot of times we will feel slighted, and I think I will say this: the most time you'll feel slighted is when it's somebody you respect. And I was trying to tell Angry Man that's exactly why Jeff felt slighted, because he respected you. If he didn't, it wouldn't have bothered him. And I think I've been the same way. I think the first time when you came at me, Angry Man, back then, I didn't get it because I said, oh, this nigga cool. So when you came at me, it bothered me more than somebody who didn't, because I was like, I thought the nigga was cool. So I didn't see it. So I think it shows a lot of times when we're offended, we won't say it, but we say it because we kind of respect the person more. Hence, the offense mattered more.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree because it was
I was fighting for my life back then.
But see, I understand, but you was fighting somebody again.
You had the muscle in. You had to muscle your way in.
I felt what you were doing, but it hurt me because I was like, but you don't have to do that with me, dog. I'm willing to give you the flow. You ain't got to take it from me or down me to do it. But I understood that whole thing of, again, when you trying to get in, it's like Michael Jordan being cool with think that this person cool with him, but that person then try to do something crazy to him on the court. Mike is like, whoa, you didn't have to do that to me. I'm willing to give you the floor. I'm a fan. Michael Jackson and Prince. Mike was a fan of Prince.
Right.
Prince was in battle mode whenever Mike was around.
He didn't give a fuck about Mike at
all. And all I thought, Angry Man, you know what I thought after you did what you did? I said, he's a meanie.
I saw that. That was hilarious.
That Angry Man is a meanie.
No, seriously, like back around that time, I was fighting for my life. I was catching it from everybody. Like, everybody was coming at me. And it's crazy because back then I was like, damn, the only person that can probably relate to this shit is Tommy. I was like, the only one that can probably relate to this.
Right.
Yeah, but no, the thing is with the discussion, right? Here's my thing. I love intellectual conversations. Like, I love conversations, but not where I gotta be trying to teach somebody something, but somebody who has enough intelligence to challenge what I'm saying, and we have a back and forth. And I think the problem was when Cap was saying what he was saying, I'm like, ooh, I want to challenge that and see what he got to say, but it's other people trying to get in the conversation.
Right.
So I can't have the back and forth that I wanted to have with him. And that's why I told you that yesterday, Tommy. I was like, I really wanted to have that conversation, which is what this conversation is, but I couldn't do it because everybody else, wanted to.
I think we learned something too, man. We can always, like, we all have a following and we know how to do content and stuff like that. So if there's ever a time like this was to happen again, we can always just do this again. Like, remember, Angry Man, we were supposed to link up, I think, on Wednesdays. And I think that's when thing happened with Charlie Kirk. We haven't been able to link up since then. But anytime you can hit me up, I'll put my number in the chat so you can have my number. You can hit me up anytime. And if you ever want to go live, you know, we can always have a discussion on anything. It could be a
Word.
And
subject
man,
we
I can tell
agree
you,
on, a subject we don't.
and Anger Man, let me tell you the thought process. But when me and Cap hooked up, it was supposed to be these niggas gonna hate each other.
Word is
That literally
gone,
what
yo.
it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like they
But the
listen.
sit-down conversation changed it.
Listen, man, me and Tommy was supposed to. So how it happened was there was this white guy named Ralph has a podcast, and he was setting up me and Tommy against each other. So it didn't work
Mhm.
out. So I reach out to Tommy and I say, "Hey, Tommy, let's do a live stream together." And I think it was about like slavery. I forget what it was. And so the whole time when I'm telling people we're gonna do this live stream together, everybody is telling me you was going to hate this nigga. You're not gonna like Tommy. Tommy's this, Tommy's that. And so I remember I'm calling him the day of the live stream. And the very first conversation we had, we didn't even talk about the fucking live stream. We talked about our houses, we talked about our family, we talked about our children. That's the whole conversation to where we forgot we had a debate coming that night. So by the end of the conversation, I said, "Hey, so we good by 8 o'clock work for you?" "Yeah, 8 o'clock work for me." And then we have the debate. And in the debate, as we're disagreeing, we laughing with each other. He played that old slavery video he played in the beginning. I'm laughing at that shit. But the shit was so dope. We do a follow up. We do one
Yep.
the next week, and then after we did that one,
It
his
turned
side
into a
and my
thing.
side said, "Y'all need to do a show because the more we talk together, as people was even on my side mainly, because Tommy has his audience. As people on my side thought Tommy was somebody to hate, they start seeing his talking points. They might not have liked the way he delivered it, but his talking points was on point. And me and Tommy agree on half the shit. I may not talk about black women the way he do, but I do agree that the black woman is a monster. I do agree with that. How we get to her being a monster, make the road to saying you a monster might be different, but she's a monster.
But
So
Cap, I had to tell Anger Man that same thing. He said, I think our problem is, he that Hebrew Israelite, and I'm kind of the conservative about. I said, hey, I'm the same thing. Everybody assumed we would disagree. The thing is, and I've been saying this for years, and I wish that y'all black men would see this. Have you noticed that a lot of times whenever we get a chance to sit down and talk, we see we have more in common than we don't?
Yep.
Usually the problem, and somebody from your group, Anger Man, said it early on in the show, when bitches ain't involved, niggas get problem solved.
That's a real shit.
Yeah, when bitches ain't involved, shit gets solved.
That's how you get rid of the mud. You get rid of the mud. You can't. I've never judged a man by what women, men, or anybody says. I did not judge Tommy by what somebody else said. As they telling me all that, I'm like, man, that's your experience. Because the same way they'll talk about Tommy, people got a perception about Israelites. To where when I come around people, white people, whatever, like when I sat with them white people at that damn live stream, which for the record, I broke their internet. If you go on that white boy's channel, I'm the 5th most watched live stream on his channel. It's about 1.2 million views. That's what I did. I just want to put that out there. So now, but when I went there, they was expecting y'all get on your knees. They saying like key words. They said everything except the N-word. They was making fun of the garments. They doing all of that because the goal is to think that I'm just gonna be this loudmouth black Hebrew Israelite wilding and stuff like that. And then when it's over, the same white guy texts me, man, hey man, I didn't expect this type of response from this video. Can we do it again? I'll be in New York in December. Can we do it again? Because once you meet people now, can you meet some horrible black Hebrew Israelites? Yes. Absolutely. Can you meet a horrible black man? Absolutely. But that does not mean that everybody is like that. You have to judge a man by how you deal with them.
Anger Man, let me say this to you, and I'm gonna let you go. Because I gotta say this. That shouts out to Cap. Cap came down here and they were doing an event in Atlanta. And he was like, you can come on through. And I mean, everybody kept telling me, don't go up there. Cap gonna set you up. He doing what they did up in Harlem. He gonna go up there and they're gonna stab you. So I said, no, I done had a few beers in me. It was late night. It was about 11:30.
Right. Yeah.
I said, this is the best time to drive. Me drinking. For those who don't know. And he said, Cap said, make sure you bring your car. I said, well, wait a minute, that might be a kill situation. He said, make sure you bring your car. I want to see it. I drank another beer. I said, fuck it, let's go.
Right. That's right. That's right.
And then the thing said, so I get in the car, I'm driving up there. But I'm driving up there, and everything was going well. And then by the time we got ready to leave, it was a couple niggas still being on nigga shit. One of them came up on me and was trying to talk. I don't need to talk to you. He was, what you doing up here, nigga? And y'all don't know, I'm just like 5'11", about 6 feet, but Cap about like Wembenyama size. This nigga's huge. Cap walks up and say, hey, man, when he walked up to the dude, was like, hey, man, what you trying to do? And dude just backed down, and I didn't need him to do it, but it was like what Cap is saying. Well, some people understand that we got to work a relationship and we cool.
Right.
But some people come to try to get their fucking rocks off.
Right.
Cap said, you here on my behalf, and I'm going to make sure shit go right. And he did.
Right. And I did.
Word.
And I thought that was
You
really
missing the other part. You missing the other part. You came in the booth, met my leader, Commander Jenny Hanna, sat down, took pictures with us. We brought this nigga on the stage. Tommy was on the stage with us. He was mad because he wanted to rap, but he didn't give us the songs in enough time. We had Tommy. Tommy was on the stage with us while the brothers is rapping and performing. That's how we treated him. But if I or he would have listened to the outside voices, we would have never linked up, and you would never see none of that. If he would have still been bothered by what happened to him up in Harlem, like he said, he would have never linked up. So you cannot judge until you actually have a conversation with him, deal with him, XYZ like this. So I thought this ended up overall being good, being able to clear up the confusion that people think Angry Man and I had. Of course, he's the light-skinned Highlander. That's his name forever. Say that on Tuesday.
Beigelander.
Beigelander. Beigelander. He's the Beigelander. But I do look forward to doing some work with y'all. If that's it, I'm kind of good.
We good on it. I'm gonna give Angry Man the last word.
Okay.
Because he is the Beigelander, so we got to give him. He's got the sword, so we're gonna let him in these proceedings.
Yeah, so
not the Beige Lantern Corps. Oh hell no!
That's hilarious.
Beige Lantern.
That is crazy, man.
So yeah, man, it's been a great conversation. I knew this would be a better conversation because it's one-on-one, because I didn't have any personal animosity towards Cap. Like I've seen videos where you've had discussions. I've seen, certain things you talked about. So I know you're not a dumb man. I know you're an intellectual. I know you're an intelligent guy.
Thank you.
So, you know what I'm saying? I've seen some of your debates, whatever, pretty, awesome content. So no, it was never no animosity or anything. It was just, for me, it's kind of like Bruce Lee. I just wanted to have the fight. You feel me? I wanted the match. You feel what I'm saying? And people was getting in the way. I don't know if you noticed, but when Bruce was walking on Enter the Dragon, when he was trying to get the old boy, everybody kept getting in his way. So he just catching everybody like, get out the way. I'm trying to have the back and forth with him. You feel me? So that's all it was. But great conversation. I appreciate you for setting it up, Tommy. Because I be so super busy running around doing a bunch of stuff. Half the time, like I be catching hell when it come to checking my freaking messages and shit. Cap probably think I'm ignoring him on Instagram.
Got me on red for days. What's up with that?
Look, I swear to God, look, I promise you.
Hey, Tommy don't like it on red. Yeah, Tommy don't like it on red. Yeah.
Look, my wife would be like, did you see that TikTok I sent you? And I'd be like, what TikTok? I sent you a TikTok 2 days ago, and that's my wife. So I'm bad with checking messages and stuff like that. But I appreciate you setting it up, Tommy. For
definitely.
Real.
Likewise, I appreciate it too.
And y'all got to understand, both these brothers got lives, families, work, and this was a last-minute thing in which they cleared out enough schedule to get this in. And y'all even gave me more time than y'all said y'all was able to give. Because figured about an hour and a half.
Right.
We're at 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I appreciate both of y'all for doing this. And I want to give a shout out to all of you fans who came around. And it seems like there's been a melding of fans too. I think that's one of the biggest things that Cap and I were able to do, where it was like you got two groups of fans who hate the other guy. But when they see y'all being civil, you know what happens? There's a synergy. Then the fans start being civil to each other and start giving each other a little bit of grace. And I think that's the one thing that black men are really missing, which is getting in the way of it. We can say black women do whatever it is, but until black men start learning to see each other as people and as people we can give grace to where a mistake can be made, but we don't completely turn our back against them, or we don't prejudge them before they ever say a word based upon what somebody else told us, we're not going to make any movement. So if anybody watching, if you didn't see nothing today, what you saw was the fact that these two light-skinned niggas ain't soft.
I knew it was coming.
There's no way he was gonna let the end that go out without throwing some shit up in there.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
No, but truly, it is really appreciated. And if anybody else is out there, if y'all got any beef or whatever and y'all want to have it out, remember, I've been through a lot of things. I'm glad that Angry Man said that about, hey, sometimes you can sit down and talk to somebody who's been through it and be like, hey, they still understand you. I've been through so much stuff. I don't want no beef. I don't want no problem. I'm old and I don't want nothing to do with this. And if any of y'all want to come and have a debate, I'm willing to come and moderate it for you. I try my best to be fair. I think I'm a fair person. Hopefully you guys thought this ended up being fair. Make sure you guys go Beano Nation, shout out. Make sure you guys go and check out my man, the Angry Man. Want to find him? Go on YouTube, put in the Angry Man. He will show up and you will see him and all his anger. And if you want to catch my man, Captain Tazaryach, he's all over the place. Brother just went viral talking to these white people and talking to my man from Impractical Jokers. It was actually funny, but you got to be able to take the joke. I saw some people saying, Cap should have never been there. I see it's all about clicks and views for Caps. And I was like, no, if you got something to say, you didn't see that?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, they would say that. I see you went to a place where they wasn't serious, so it's obvious you don't take what you saying serious. And I said, you got to get your message in any place you can get it, right? Is that how you viewed it?
That's exactly how I viewed it, because I knew it was a troll, but I got to talk about the history of Israel, got to tell some Jewish rabbis they wasn't Jews, which is what I teach. Got to say Jesus and all the people in the Bible was black, which is what I teach. So as this a troll, and they wasn't able to troll me, but I was able to troll them. So how is that bad for me? I don't see how that's
short-sightedness. That's what I'm trying to get black men away from. We got to stop being short-sighted.
They don't know the mission.
Short-sighted could have been we would have stopped. And a lot of people thought it, Angry Man, that you'd never come back on the show. We never talk again after what happened Tuesday.
And you know what's crazy? Before you go, Angry Man, the people that's talking can't be in this position. That's why they just talk. Now that's the truth. Everybody can't be an Angry Man. Everybody can't be a Cap. Everybody can't be a Tommy. If they could, they'd be doing it. But I do appreciate the comments, though. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate the subscribes. I appreciate all that, because all that is needed. You don't have to sit here, troll that. You can listen. You can tell me I ain't shit. My mom ain't shit. Just like the video, share the video. Put my, I don't care.
And what do we call that? What do we call that, Angry Man? What do we call that when we just want you to like, share, and comment?
Oh, that's damn.
Content farming.
Oh no, it's clout farming. That's
that's
called clout farming.
Yeah,
we clout farming.
We clout farmers.
Yes, we are, and we got a good crop that came in today, boy.
Yes, sir.
That's what it's all about. We don't care how it grew. It grew. We clout farming. So y'all say whatever y'all want to. We got the hoes, the rakes, and all kinds of stuff. We out at clout farming.
I told you that's gonna be a thing, man.
I appreciate you guys. We said it at the same time. I was just like, I appreciate y'all, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, man. Like I said, anytime you're looking forward to Tuesday, Angry Man, anytime you want to do anything together, just hit me up. And shout out to Tommy's audience, Angry Man's audience, and my audience. All right.
Appreciate you.
All right, no sweat,
Angry Man.
Yeah, man. Like I said, appreciate you having me over here again. You know, and I don't know who said that, but that's not.
All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. I thought that was pretty good. I think y'all like the way my camera move when I move. Y'all see that? The camera move when I move. When I move, you move. So I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. I thought that was a good back and forth with the brother. Hopefully that gets rid of any type of animosity that was out there. I look forward to doing the next Card Chronicles. And I'll see y'all next time. Shalom, Israel.